You're listening to WZYE 95.9 FM. You are listening to WZYE 95.9 FM, the most influential name in Caribbean radio in the tri-state area. Broadcasting from East Orange, New Jersey, the most influential name in Caribbean radio, WZYE 95.9 FM.
Good evening, grandson. What about the poor in this country? Nobody seems to care about them. Day, giddy, la da 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 day. I am making this demand cause I'm feeling sad for the way they treat poor people in Trinidad. To me, they have compassion again, because year after year, poor people complain. Mr. Politician, I beg you to heed. It's not only wrong elections, poor people have need. You will only miss the water when the well runs dry. Take some time and listen the poor man's cry. Because why? Without the poor man vote, you wouldn't be in office. Without the poor man's vote, your wife can't be first lady. So while you showing concern for your favorite constituency, I'm begging, show concern for Beetham and Laventille. It's the poor man who assists you with your campaign rally. It's he who forms the crowd, although he knows you're untrue. And yet still with all the false promises, he remains loyal to you. It's time you know poor people as people too. Giddy, giddy, la da 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 da. Digga, 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 join, join, line, 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 day, day. When to make a sacrifice, he is in the lead. Yet still the poor man eats the bread that the devil need. His way of life don't seem to be nobody concerned. He's forced to exist on the little money he earns. To make a living, some may have to break the law or swallow their pride and go begging from door to door. Some try to make a honest living off of the land. Society just have no regard for the poor man. Understand? But without the poor man, there won't be no credit unions. It's through the poor man, them bourgeois know about Susu. And yet through the years, all you show the poor man is pure rejection. But without his cash, your big store business is boo. Through the poor man, the banking sector gets big interest. And yet he's the last to qualify when seeking a loan. And just in case he's late with an installment, they will brand him a delinquent. But like it or not, that's the poor man's predicament. Giddy, 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 la da la da day. Giddy, 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 la da la day. Day. Politicians always playing musical chairs. The poor man becomes important once every 5 years. He'll make the time and come and visit you in your home. And with a silver fork tongue, they promise you a bone. But when they reach in office, that is therapy. To see the same man, now you must see his secretary. The secretary, and you end up in an argument. You still can't see him because you don't have an appointment. that torment. But Shaguanas has changed from a cane field to a burrow, and they are showing signs of progress each passing day. You both of you care about the poor man in your manifesto. Yet still John and Lavanti remain the same way. When they win, they don't remember the man in the ghetto. His existence do not jog their memories at all. But one day you go push the poor man till he end up against a wall, and that is when he'll give you a wake-up call. Giddy, 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 la da 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 da. Giddy, 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 la la la, day, 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 day. Over the years I have made several observations. It seems like everyone have contempt for the poor man. His contribution seems to be insignificant. No matter what the poor man do, it's not important. From the cradle to the grave, he carries a load. His burden to bear is like the long and winding road. I believe the laws of creation has a flaw. It's why some people so rich and others so poor. What a law! But without the poor man, there won't be no civil servants. Without the poor man, tell me who go drive the taxi? It's only the poor man I see take the time to feed the vagrants, because rich people hardly exercise charity. So, Mr. Divider, whenever you start the sharing, try and give the poor an equal share of the cake. Not because you suffering with ulcers, you feel poor people can't eat steak. Shock yourself and give the poor man a break. Giddy, giddy, giddy. Giddy, giddy, la da 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 da. Wrong two coming. Wrong two coming. Giddy, diddy, diddy, diddy.
This is Caribbean Vibe.
I want to come home and live again, but I hear the country's so hard. I'm so hurt I can't stand the pain. Cause how I boast and I brag, I went out and tell the world my country, life is so beautiful, happy. I come home
This is Caribbean Vibe.
I hear they say the government mess up. Tell them playing innocent can't work. They better do right. Tell them you want the change. If they don't do right.
I sat down and thinking, the question I'm asking, is Pharaoh still existing? As he before, resembling an Israelite, not being treated right, enslaved day and night. We just can't go on this way. We just can't go on this way. Please deliver us today. We just can't go on this way. Be like the Israelites still in pain. We just can't go on this way. So send us another Moses again. We just can't go on this way. Oh, 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 oh. Oh, 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 oh. Lord, look around, you'll see the Pharaoh mentality ruling universally. Leaders promoting their ego, being a modern Pharaoh, tyrannies they manifest. We just can't go on this way. We just can't go on this way. Please deliver us today. We just can't go on this way. Time to make them oppressors pay. We just can't go on this way. So we children could see their way. We just can't go on this way. Oh, 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 oh. No, 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 no. The poor have to slave night and day for next to nothing pay, so they can't see their way. We don't enjoy equal facility like Pharaoh and company. Brainwashing we say we free. We just can't go on this way. We just can't go on this way. Please deliver us today. We just can't go on this way. Time to make them oppressors pay. We just can't go on this way. So the children could see their way. We just can't go on this way. just like you did in Egypt. When Pharaoh had the Israelites in bondage, you delivered them.
Now a news for
But here
Jackson.
again, we are in the same khaki pants. We have those modern Pharaoh who oppress the poor, who represents Israel. They confuse us with so much lie. Not even thinking that we would realize. And if we criticize, we could be ostracized. We don't know who to trust. That's why I say, Lord, please listen to this prayer that comes from the poor. Please send us another Moses again. Oh, we just can't go on this way. Please deliver us today. Thank you, make them oppress us stay. So the children could see their way. Make them get on their knees and pray. Never be up to judgment day. Just can't make it this way.
Yes, 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 yes. Let me say a special hello to all the WZYE 95.9 FM listeners. Of course, ladies and gentlemen, it's in the village with the dark triplets on WZYE 95.9 FM. We come to you every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday from 7 to 10 p.m. That's Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday from 7 to 10 p.m. Let me bring in 1/3 of the dark triplets, no other than Diana, Benskin, Waveney, Stormy, The Storm, Greta,
Oh, Jesus.
Bajan, McDonough.
Wow. How many names you give me there? About 10?
Well, the state Bajans and them have like 25 names, so I'll give you all your names.
Oh, boy, oh,
I'll
boy.
give you
Well,
your
I'm
birth
going,
name, I'll give you a nickname, I'll give you
well, I'm
your
going to,
pet name, I'll give you every name.
yeah. Well, I want to start by saying good evening, villagers. And the oppressor cannot be as strong if he did not have accomplices amongst the oppressed. I started the program with that.
Okay, let me bring in the Phantom. No other than TNT, Gary, the Phantom, Mahabir.
Good evening. How's everybody doing?
Well, we did. We had to be there. We can't be night. We did.
So, Miss Diana, what oppressor are you talking about? There no oppressor in Trinidad, maybe in America?
The oppressor cannot be as strong if he did not have accomplices amongst the oppressed.
Oppress.
Who the
Okay.
cap fit, let him wear it.
Which is oppressing who now? Who oppressing who?
What oppressor are you talking about, Diana?
Yeah.
What do you mean, what oppressor? So wait, or what happened? You drinking passion fruit juice and the next one drinking red solo? Huh?
I know what oppressor you just be talking about.
You ain't see a man come today on a video and say he get laid off from Petrotrin and he find it he catching in there and then to put it short. You're having a very difficult time surviving. So that you ain't being oppressed, you lost your work, and you find it difficult to survive. That's not oppression.
Entrenchment, that's oppression.
That's not oppression. Okay. Well, you go ahead. We won't get into that right now. Taking away the man, the little young man.
So many
What?
people have problem in Trinidad. You see them rising up and doing anything about it?
Well, I'm waiting for Friday.
Friday?
Ansem, let me do the superlatives now before we get deep
I
into
see
this.
more people jamming than standing up in Trinidad.
Well, let me see. Apparently, letters were served to the chief personnel officer today. That's what I read. So they look like they mean business now. And if they do, if that's what's happening, yeah.
They mean business. I answer when they mean business, let them tell them that we know.
So let me get quickly. So wait now. I think, but Diana, I don't remember something.
Mm.
Did we say Hailey was a male or a female?
I don't know. They never disclosed. I can't remember. I don't think they'd ever. So
I
you have
think
to
that is.
put. I'm not sure.
Well, let me say this, right?
Mm.
Um, Today, Hailey was first for the first time,
Mm-mm.
right? So, I I don't want to.
Yeah, we don't know.
Yeah. Hailey,
Wait.
we don't know, eh? We're not sure because
Yeah.
Hailey Selassie, yes,
Yep.
that's a female, that's a male name, but
Mm-hmm.
the last name could be a female name as well. So we don't want to put you in one or the other basket. So you let us know which one it is, and we will get back to it and give you
Mm-hmm.
your just due for being the first one in the village tonight. The first
Mm.
time you come first. How much is the first time you ever come first in anything?
Oh Lord.
You know, let me know, Lord. How much is the first time you come first?
You calling him a he too. You don't know. Watch yourself. You
Oh
might
yeah,
get
yeah,
licked.
yeah, yeah, yeah. First time you came first in anything. First time, right? Of course.
I hear you adopting grown men and women. So
Who is that?
that why I hear. I hear you adopting grown men and women.
I adopting. Oh, where you get that from?
In the chat, they say you adopting grown men.
All
Wall
right.
Street adopting grown men and women. So all you send all the thing to Wall Street, he will adopt all you.
All right. Well, let's send it. Send it. How about disposable files in the garage? so,
Oh.
so Takesha was in second, third, fourth, fifth. Nadia was sixth, seventh. Nadia. Oh boy, I got a red hat from Nadia too, you know, boy. And
Mm-mm.
you want Nadia saying, "Good day, love."
Mm-mm.
Not LOV, LUV, eh?
Mm-mm.
You know, Nadia, thank you so very kindly, Nadia. Oh, you know what? I take that back. She told me the same thing. I thought I thought I was special. Nadia, I thought I was special. She told me the same thing. Same thing.
Lana Stormy is doing fantabulous, marvelous, and stupendous, if that's a word. He eats he eats mangoes. Okay? Every time I pick up a mango to eat, Stormy have to have his own mango. All right. That's all I'm gonna tell all you.
Diana,
Yeah?
Nadia give me one red rose, right?
What the yeah? And she
And
get
a black rose. She gave Tommy a white rose. She give
mm-mm.
you, she give you, what's that day?
I don't know. Oh, hearts and love. Oh, darling.
Hearts and oh God, the Lord of His mercy. I'm stay in my corner.
That's right. Don't get
let,
any woman back on her.
let me cool. Hey, look, my good friend Joan, UNC, love until Jadu Beer Boy. Joan, you walk for Sawa today? Hey, Joan, people want to know that people are asking me. They say them CCTV still working, eh? Them cameras on the priority route. Joan, inquiring minds want to know.
Don't get jealous. Good night, darling. Oh, you know how long I hear somebody call me darling?
Somebody
Oh,
called you darling
thank
there.
you, Nadia.
Oh God! All right. Nadia is very. Nadia is a beautificious young lady.
I had somebody, Gary don't call me darling. Anselm don't call me darling. Tommy don't call me darling.
Yeah,
Thank you, Nadia. It is well appreciated. Stormy can't talk
Nadia is
because
she's a beautificious young lady.
all
Hey,
Stormy
you
is
see,
do is
look,
nip and
Nadia asked
bark.
Joan if she walking too.
Huh?
Nadia just asked Joan if she walking.
Everybody walking. I need to virtually walk with you all one day.
No, I think Joan walked today because she didn't answer it.
Mm.
Lana, welcome. Lana, you're inside.
Joan
Big time.
says she just eat a chicken roti. She feeling like a snake.
She like a snake.
Full.
God.
Uh, oh. You should have eaten half of it, Joan. Why eat the whole thing?
Yeah, Albert, good evening. Albert, say good evening to everybody. And you see why? You see what? That's why sometimes I was want to leave Albert alone. You know.
We do.
I'm serious. All of a sudden, Albert had to say special good evening to Diana.
Oh, thank you, Albert Montano. Thank you.
What does that mean, Albert?
A special good evening to you also.
I'm waiting for Albert to come on this show and give us a little history of TNT and his experience.
Yeah, hey, look, we partner fish stick inside. So, folks, our first guest is already waiting for us patiently. So, let me go through this real quick. Vonnie Roberts, you inside. Vonnie
Pizza.
Roberts say, hi, Joan. How you going, my dear? All right. What is it there? Okay. Oh, good. Look, Vonnie Roberts get Joan, pink flowers, pink daffodils, yellow daffodils. Oh,
Oh my
good.
God, why are you so jealous, Ansel?
All kind of see flowers. Lord have his mercy, boy. Vonnie Roberts, you have a florist, boy. It's flowers after flowers after flowers.
You notice
Oh
he ain't
God.
getting no red flower.
What's that they pour the one who break now? Because it goes back every 5 years to slaughter by the P&M. All right. Okay. I don't understand that one, but I will pay it up.
You don't, oh, the poor man don't want no break. Because every 5 years they go back to be slaughtered. I understand.
All right. I'll pay it up.
Mm.
Hey, Capiza, welcome. Capiza is in no, I think he back here. What is that one? What you just said? The oppressor has acolytes in the village. Who's that,
Yep.
boy?
Albert Montano, yep.
Who's the acolyte?
The oppressor cannot be as strong if he ain't got accomplices amongst the oppressed.
God. Joan
Mm.
Jadu say, we cannot go on this way. Please, Rowley, please step down. What, Joan? God. Joan not easy, way. I don't understand this. So the youth could influence by gun songs, but can't be influenced by songs that tell them they mistake every election.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
I see Tommy coming like you having trouble or what?
Tommy,
Yeah, he was calling the phone.
he was calling.
Yeah, on the group call.
All right, I'll call him back when we get a little break. Lana says, why do we say public servants? Are we still slaves? Why not say public workers? Colonization and colonialism done.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mm.
Albert Montano says Ontario election is June 2nd. We voted in early voting since last week.
Mm.
All right. Let's bring in our first guest. Oh, look, Tommy. Tommy's here. Tommy, welcome.
Hey, good evening.
How are you?
I'm having a problem here with my connectivity today.
Okay. All right, so let's bring in our first guest. Is it Miss or
Are you
Mrs.?
hearing me?
Yeah, we're hearing you,
Yeah, we're
Tommy.
hearing you.
It's
Hello?
Mrs. Ramona Ramdial.
Why am I having such a problem?
Yeah,
Well,
we're hearing you, Tommy.
what's the name you have there? Is that a different name? You sure that's the right name you put in there? Are you hearing me?
Hello?
Ramona, are you hearing me?
Yes, I am. Yes, I am. You hearing me?
Yes, we are.
Right.
No, we just see you put in a different name there.
Oh, yeah, that's my son's account. Sorry, I'm using his account, not my
Oh,
account.
okay, all right. I was just wondering. I thought you wanted to put Rhoda Barrett.
Oh, Lord. Rhoda and I is partners, you know.
You and Rhoda is partners?
How you mean?
Yeah. I watch anything that I say, but wait now, boy. See, I wonder if she just kind of misspelled the first name.
I am Ramona Ramdial, by the way.
Yes. Oh,
Yes.
so you've been with us before, right?
No, I think this is my first time, and it's
Oh,
a
this is
pleasure to be
The first
here.
time. I was trying to get it a while ago, but this is the first time.
okay. This is your first time in the village. So this is in the village with the dark triplets on WZYE 95.9 FM. We call
Nice.
ourselves the dark triplets because D is Diana. Diana is considered to be the storm. I am Anselm or Wall Street or Flash. Gary is considered to be the phantom. And then we have another person, a fourth individual, Tommy. Tommy is a commissioner here in Newark.
Oh,
So it's in the village
nice.
with the dark triplets on WZYE 95.9 FM. How are you doing this fantabulous day?
I'm good. I'm good. I could not be better.
You're just good alone?
Yeah, well, actually, I'm very busy preparing for the UNC internals that has been called. So that elections is on June the 26th. So we're busy preparing for it.
So are you going up as a candidate?
Definitely, most likely for deputy political leader. Yeah, so far.
Under what slate?
Well, we have not decided yet, our team, whether we'll be running a slate because it's a very costly and time-consuming initiative in terms of pulling the slates together and pulling for the different positions. There are at least 15 positions on the executive plus the political leader position. So we're still deciding as a team, and as you know, it was a very we want to say it's a snap election that has been called within the party because we have little or no time. We have less than 30 days to prepare for this internals.
You know, I want to ask you guys a question. I don't know much about your constitution. Don't you have guys something in the constitution where it say you at least need 3 months in order to call an internal election rather than just hoisting an election on the people of the party? I mean,
Well, yes, the internals actually, we don't have that 3 month stipulation, but the party's internal, with respect to the NATEX or the executive, is due in December of this year, and the political leader position is due next year. However, the process by which the political leader pulled these two elections together has not been kept in line with the Constitution. It was a violation of the Constitution. So therefore, you know, we had that issue because we believed that the Constitution should be followed and that the executive election should stay as is this year for this year, and the political leader position should stay as is for next year. But you see, the Constitution can be amended to have the two elections in one, but that process was not followed last Saturday when the date was announced. So, you know, we have an issue with that because, as you know, I'm part of a team advocating for new leadership of the United National Congress, and therefore we have some serious problems with what happened last Saturday in terms of the announcement and how this elections was called so quickly.
Yeah, I was just kind of looking at it from the outside looking in. I mean, I don't want to get into UNC business, you know, but from the outside looking in, I was like, well, you know, how could you just decide that, you know, it's like you have something in your hip pocket, you do what you have to do, you know, and any sanitization that you need to do.
Yeah, no, it has gotten worse over the years. I would say, like from 2015, there's been a complete lockdown of the party to a certain extent. You know, this kind of maximum leadership. So, you know, the arms of the party, it's not functioning as it should over the past 6 years. So yes, you know, and even when the elections are called, we have been asking for an independent body to run that election, but it is really the internal, the MPs, the senators, the constituency executives that run this election. So it's an irregularity, you know, within, and even the election committee last time, we didn't have a representative for the other slate in 2020 on the election committee. So everybody is handpicked. The process is micromanaged by the leadership, the incumbent. So it's very, very hard to win and overcome some of the irregularities. I mean, we had our lawyers tackle the issue in 2020 because that was our last elections 2 years ago. We got nowhere because we didn't really legally challenge in the courts because, you know, it delays and it frustrates a process. So I don't know. There are some persons who are thinking of legally challenging the process, but you know, the party and the process in terms of signing up and registering as a candidate for the elections, that has started. Yesterday, nomination day opened. So it opened yesterday. So persons are now invited to pick up their forms. So we have to stay in line with the process while we look at other strategies to combat and to deal with some of the irregularities we have faced and that we are going to face in this elections.
So, Ramona.
Yes.
Can anyone who's currently in the parliament oppose Mrs. Kamala Persad-Bissessar without any repercussions?
No, there would be repercussions, and that is why those who sit in the parliament and who sit in the Senate, they are somewhat afraid to challenge her at this time.
Shouldn't that be something that if a person wants to challenge the political, is that an unwritten law in the UNC?
Well, I mean, it's not a law. It's a convention. I mean, okay. So I'll give you an example. In 2015, when we lost the general elections, an internals was called a couple months after, right? And I ran as an independent candidate. I did not support the political leader's slate, nor did I support Vassan Bharat's slate. I ran as an independent. And even running as an independent and not supporting slates and not being part of a slate, you know, I was kind of blacklisted from then for exercising my democratic right. But I mean, that's not supposed to happen, but it happens. It's just how it happens, you know. So you're blacklisted, you're seen not as a loyalist to the leader because you challenged for a position and you weren't on her slate and, you know, or his slate, and that's how it goes. So it's not about fixing the party or rebuilding the party to win a national election. It's more or less supporting the leader until that leader decides to go or is kicked out.
Mm-hmm. Do you believe the UNC could win another election with Mrs. Kamala Persad-Bissessar as the leader?
No way at all. We need new leadership in the United National Congress to move forward. And I think the entire country sees it now. You know, they've been commenting. If you speak to members on the ground, they'll tell you, well, you know, Mrs. Persad-Bissessar needs to step aside, give someone else a chance who has more energy, who's stronger, who's younger, who can take on the PNM in Parliament and out of the Parliament, because there are lots of things that are happening with respect to the government, you know, not doing what it is supposed to do in terms of governance. We have this most recent labor unions starting to rise up because of negotiations. Tomorrow is a big protest in Port of Spain. So, you know, and the opposition can do so much more, so much more, you would not believe. And that they're not doing. And it is because of this weak leadership that has perpetuated within the UNC since 2015. You know, and people will say, well, you know, Ramona, because you weren't chosen as a candidate, you're like this now. But since 2015, I'll tell you something. The 10 MPs who were rejected in 2020 for the general elections, that's myself, Fuad Khan, Ganga Singh, Fazal Karim, Bo Tiwari, Prakash Ramadar, Christine Nawalo Hussain, Vidya, Suraj, Tim. Well, not Tim so much, because with him it was personal. But all of us made suggestions to the political leader over that 5-year period in opposition to unite the party, to speak to other opposing forces, you know, form a partnership or forge something. And none of the good advice to win an elections was taken on board. So I realized that the current leadership just didn't want to win the 2020 general elections for whatever reason. And therefore, it was a disservice to the membership of the UNC. You know, staying in opposition, being the loyal opposition when you had a chance to win an election, but not following good advice. And we 10 MPs who would have given suggestions over the 5 years and spoken out internally, and not disrespectfully, but spoken out and, you know, try to make things happen. Like we had given a suggestion to include Michaela Pandey back into the party, to include Basdeo in terms of guidance, being an elder, being a founder of the party, and being still alive. You know, he was 89 yesterday. You know, so these are some of the recommendations we made, and we paid the price for it in 2020, you know. So, and then we lost because the good advice that was given, not just by our good selves, but others, it wasn't taken on board, and we lost again a second term. So therefore, the UNC is in opposition for a second term. I firmly believe that if Mrs. Prasad Bisesa stays and carries the party into the 2025 general elections, that we again will lose, we will not win, and therefore we need new leadership now.
So, Ramona, what do you say to those people who say that, you know, it's sour grapes as far as Ramona is concerned?
No, because, okay, I'll tell you something. It's not. I have moved on. I am now a businesswoman. I have moved on in respect personally. I am good, but I'm a life member of the party. Fuad Khan, also, like myself, we're all moving together because we are putting the party before the individual. And people everywhere we go, people are saying, listen, we are not happy with this current government. It is getting worse under this current government. The youths can't get jobs. You know, the prices, cost of living is skyrocketing daily. I know it's a global issue also, where cost of living is increasing globally because of the pandemic and what happened before and all of that. But there are things that can be done that is not happening, and that change in terms of governance can only come from the party politics. So changing the leadership of the party and rebuilding and going forward with a new team can see us win government, not just probably as a UNC alone, but probably in partnership with other entities, definitely. Unity with the PDP, unity with PEP, unity with NTA, unity with everybody, because you need to bring all the forces together to win an election.
So, Ramona, if not Mrs. Kamala Prasad Bisesa, then who?
There are many competent, politically experienced persons, both on the outside and the inside. I'll give you some examples. Vasan Bharat. Then you have Fuad Khan, you have Fazal Karim, you have Botiwari. Then on the inside, you have Rushdan Pare, you have Rudal Munilal. You have these guys who can take leadership and move the party forward. But as we discussed earlier, the dynamics on the inside is it's different, it's harder. So therefore and then Fuad Khan said something interesting yesterday. He said, we don't want Mrs. Prasad Bisesa to step aside as the opposition leader. She can stay as opposition leader, but allow the party to have a new leader who will put all of his or her energies in rebuilding the party, reigniting the party structures, the arms of the party, making membership, going out there and doing what is necessary to rebuild the party. And Mrs. Prasad Bisesa can stay as opposition leader and fight in the parliament while we rebuild the party on the outside, you know, because there's so many competent, politically experienced people who are willing. I am not going to be willing all the time. You know, this is a phase, this is a period for me, and I am willing to help rebuild my party. And I can tell you something, we have a lot of politically immature persons who hold positions within the party. And I'll give you an example why I say politically immature. After the internals in 2020, there was a by-election for 3 seats, local government seats. And I sent some resources to one of the candidates, and those resources were sent back to me. And I had to take up those resources and send it to another candidate who accepted it. So it's a lot of mentoring is needed for the younger ones, the young MPs. You see what is happening in Parliament. I am ready and willing. I mean, I ran the party school for 5 years in government and then in opposition for a year. So I know about the party school, the UNC party school. I have reached out and offered to assist my party because I really don't want to join any other party at this time. I can't see myself in the PNM at this time, or the PEP, or the NTA, or the PDP at this time. I have always been a United National Congress member, from youth member, my parents, my grandparents, so it's a traditional thing. So, you know, it's you're lending. Vasan Bharat reached out after the internals to work with Kamala. She refused. She refused all of us who challenged as a slate. And if you belong to a party and it's a democratic process and you exercise your democratic right, thereafter you should not be penalized for it. You know?
So we see in the news, right, that can on UNC internal election, I'll bring back Pandey if I'm party leader.
Yes.
And I guess that, so I mean, that kind of explain.
No,
Kinda,
you see, and people need to know what he means by that, because it's not
yeah.
for a position.
Mm.
It's not for a position to fight the elections. It's merely for guidance. It's merely to just have the nostalgic stalwarts of the party come back. I mean, if Pandey come back, you'll have other supporters coming back who supported him. So you can build and rebuild and use the human resource capacity when you bring these people back. And I'll tell you, for the general elections of 2020, Dr. Rowley brought in Brian Manning back and gave him a seat. He brought back Penelope Beckles. He brought back Amory Brown, and he gave them seats. Amory is a minister. They're all senior ministers now. But the mere fact and the mere action of bringing back Brian Manning united the PNM before the general elections, because there was that Manning faction that was disgruntled for a period of years. And it is the same advice we had given Mrs. Kamala Prasad-Bissessar about, encouraging and including the Pandays back into the party. Even Jack Warner, we advised, to a certain extent to include Jack back, because Jack was very instrumental in bringing the partnership together. He united the partnership and helped, and, that thing in 2010 when we won. So, we tried, we really tried so very hard from 2015 to 2020 to unite the party, and it was all rejected. It was I still cannot think. I sit and I think and I say, well, why? Why would we reject winning advice? Why?
Well, it's interesting, right? Now, when you guys were in office, right?
Mm-hmm.
What were you in any ministry? What ministry were you in?
Oh, I served in many ministries. I served, firstly, my first appointment was as parliamentary secretary with Mary King in the Ministry of Planning. And then I moved, that was for a year. And then I moved to the Ministry of Gender, Youth and Child Affairs with Verna St. Rose. I was minister in that ministry. And then from there, I went to the Ministry of Environment and Water Resources as minister with Ganga Singh, who was line minister. And I served the longest there, from 2012 to 2015 in that particular ministry, because my background is environmental sciences and natural resource management. So I was at home in that ministry. So I learned how to run a ministry. Ganga Singh was and Verna St. Rose, all of my line ministers were very accommodating. So I had that freedom of learning and knowing how a ministry works. I had powers also. I had portfolios to manage, so everything the line minister did, I was there right behind, step by step, doing what was necessary to ensure that our government performed.
So in the upcoming internal election, right, Mrs. Kamala Prasad-Bissessar is going to have a slate.
Definitely. That is why she pulled the political leader position with the NATEC. So it's going to be a slate running.
But other people don't have to have a slate. They can just
no. You don't have to. It's a strategy that they use, because let me tell you why. The executive cannot win without the leader being there, because the executive and she will not the leader will not run without a slate, because she wants to have full control over the executive. So she will run a slate to achieve that full control of the executive.
Okay.
Yeah, it's really, it is. It's very, very interesting.
Very interesting. I could see the kind of dynamics, like, oh, you want to be leader? You can be deputy political leader in my slate,
That's it. That's how it is. And then you keep out the independents, because the independents obviously don't have the resources you have. They don't have sight of the membership listing. That's another headache when it comes to getting the membership listing. We get membership listings by constituency, and by names with no address or half of the address and no contact number. When you have the leaders slate, the incumbents getting the correct listing. So it's really, I mean, I remember in 2010, when we challenged Pandey, I was part of Mrs. Prasad Bissasa's slate. And it wasn't like that at all, you know. Mr. Pandey and the secretariat, we got the membership listing. You know, we had a rep on the election committee. It was a lot more democratic. It was freer and fairer in terms of the election and the machinery that was implemented. You know, it was different. Now it's a total lockdown of a few. It's a total lockdown of the party by a few persons, you know.
So go ahead, Anna.
Hi, Ramona. I could call you
Hi.
Ramona, right? Good.
Definitely.
All right, cool. This is Diana Benskin. I am a global ambassador and a poet also.
Nice to meet you.
Trinbage, likewise. Trinbage Ghanaian descent. Trinibur Bajan parents. Good.
Nice.
So my thing is, I tend to identify with the poor, suffering people.
Yes.
I don't care what part of the alphabet you vote for, as long as you're poor and you're suffering. That is I identify with. So I'm going to go straight to a very harsh question.
Yes.
The Beetham situation with those Beetham residents.
If you're thinking about
right?
buying solar panels,
How come I did not see Mrs. Prasad Bisesa going there, even though she's not incumbent, and showing a face and you know, dealing with these people one-on-one? Because coming in the elections, those are the people you're going to want their votes also, right?
Correct.
How come I did not see Mrs. Possessor or deputy leader, whoever the person is, from the UNC, go into the Beetham? I only saw Watson Duke walking around in the Beetham.
Correct.
Well, Diana,
and that is...
Let me add one thing, though. Victor Roberts did go, though.
Okay, but he is a...
Right.
Yeah, he is
Roberts
UNC. He is
right.
UNC.
I just wanted to clarify that. That's all.
Right, but I'm talking about, you know, those
the leader.
heavy hitters. Right.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Right.
No, well, I mean, and that's the problem. That's another problem. The political leader does not make herself available to the electorate, both for party elections and even for a national election.
Really?
You know, or even during the election time, or also, I mean, you will see her for the election, but out of an election period, it's very, very hard to get Mrs. Prasad Bisesa, the political leader of the UNC, out on the ground, engaging persons. I mean, we are coming out. We have come out of the COVID pandemic, more or less. I mean, it's still around, but the protocols have been relaxed. And the UNC is still having virtual meetings while the PNM busy on the ground all over the country having their meetings. In Arima, there was a meeting last night, 2 nights ago. The political leader is still having virtuals and refuses to go down within the constituencies and have her live meetings because, I mean, they're somewhat afraid to engage the electorate, the membership of the party and all of that. So it's very, very hard to get her to be on the ground constantly, as you would see Duke or you would see PM Rowley sometimes, you know, as Prime Minister. He's more on the ground than she is. And I think that is also a challenge and that is also a disadvantage to the UNC because you need an active opposition leader who's always available, who's always on the ground, who's always campaigning, who's always there trying to mobilize people. You know, you need a leader like that. And that is why we're advocating for new leadership of the UNC.
Okay. All right.
Well, here is a question, right? Lana says, question to the guests. If you were the leader of the UNC, what will you do different from Kamala Prasad Bisesa?
The first thing I will do if I was leader, I would unite my party. My party has fallen. It is extremely fractured since 2015. We have had sideline stalwart members of the party, people like Vasan Bharat, Kevin Ramnarayan, persons who would have served in government, who did a great job, who has political maturity and experience, knows how to run a government. These people have been sidelined since 2015. And then come 2020, you have a new batch of members who have also been sidelined. The party has been seriously fractured. It's very hard to say, but as Mr. Pandey prophesied a number of years ago that whenever Mrs. Prasad Bisessa became leader, she would totally destroy the party. It is something that we're seeing. Sad to say, it's something that we're seeing. And I think it's very urgent that the UNC gets new leadership at this point. The majority of the middle class membership that you would have in the UNC has moved away from the UNC. Young professionals like myself, persons who are looking for an opportunity to serve and can't get into the party, they're very frustrated and they want to serve, they want to help, but they're just blocked out and blocked off from entering. Why?
Answer approaching top of the hour.
Yeah. Okay, so Ramona, we want you to stay with us for a little bit longer. We're going to go for a quick station identification. We have former MP for Couva North. Is it Couva North?
That's it, yes.
Wow, I got that right, boy.
Yeah.
Former MP for Couva North, Mrs. Ramona Ramdial in the village with us tonight. So, folks, stick and stay, don't go nowhere. It's in the village with the dark triplets on WZYE 95.9 FM. We're going to go for a quick station identification. We'll be right back after.
You're listening to WZYE 95.9 FM. You are listening to WZYE LP 95.9 FM, the most influential name in Caribbean radio in the tri-state area. Broadcasting from East Orange, New Jersey, the most influential name in Caribbean radio, WZYE 95.9 FM.
We are back with you. It's in the village to the dark triplets on WZYE 95.9 FM. We have with us former MP for Couva North, Mrs. Ramona Ramdial, here in the village with us tonight. And we're having a beautiful discussion tonight. Now, I want to ask you a question, Ramona.
Sure.
I know a few UNC activists, right? And many of those UNC activists have sort of moved away. Hold on.
Mm-hmm.
Have sort of moved away from the UNC.
Yes.
You want to, why did that happen, if you know?
All right, so I'll tell you why. The party, the arms of the party, the structure of the party has been dormant. There's been no National Assembly over the past 2 years because of COVID, of course, but there are other mechanisms via virtual meetings and constituency activities that could have still been undertaken in terms of keeping the party alive. We had a National Congress on Saturday, our first National Congress in 2 years, and that was just to announce the election date and violate the Constitution, right? In addition to that, the women's arm, the youth arm, we've had no youth congress, nor women's congress for a few years. The party groups within the constituencies don't exist. It's really just the councillors and a few activists that are around. And then being in opposition for 2 terms, you have to understand how difficult that is. I was in opposition for 1 term, and it was extremely hard to service constituents in opposition for 1 term. You had to fight down for everything, even though we were in a UNC-run local government area. It was extremely hard to get resources. So a second time around, people can't get their potholes patched from the borough, the Chaguanas Borough, the Couva Corporation, wherever it is that you have UNC constituencies. So it's very hard to get resources. So people have been, they're disenchanted. They're extremely disenchanted with the party because they think that the party should be doing more in order to, get itself on the right footing to win an elections. So there's a lot of discussions. People are really disenchanted. They want her to step aside. They've been asking for her to do the right thing and step aside. But obviously, it's not going to happen. It's like a repeat in 2010 where you have to challenge and you have to push the incumbent out, which is quite unfortunate. And that's it. So they've moved away. They've moved away the professional, working class people who, see the writing on the wall and they know about the politics and they're following it. They can't see her winning any general election without uniting the party and uniting with opposing forces out there. It's already 2022. There's been no move from the party, no reporting to the membership. There's no forum to engage the leadership of the party at this time. I cannot walk into the United National Congress head office and meet the General Secretary or schedule a meeting to meet the PRO or to meet everything is done virtually. It's locked down. It's really, and in the constituencies also, because the party structures have fallen to such disrepair, it's really hard to have a forum to engage the membership. And people want to be heard. They want to talk to you. When you go out, when I go out on the streets there and people know who I am and know what is going on, they come to me to complain, you know, and it's with all my colleagues, former colleagues, it's just being on social media also. You see the comments, you know, people will contact you, would message you to say, well, hey, what's going on in the party? What is happening? We don't know what's happening. There's been no membership drive for the past 2 years. We couldn't even collect membership forms to make membership, to send into the party. Everything has been locked down completely.
So here is another question, Ramona. Ramona, who do you think is best to lead the UNC at this moment?
I would still say Vasan Bharat, because our economy needs to be revived. He has that financial background. He has served as Minister of Finance in government. He was a super minister, as Kamala labeled him. He was Minister of Trade and Industry. We need to encourage investment. Under him, we were able to have the ease of business in Trinidad and Tobago, where you could have formed a company, start a business in less than 2 weeks. He's now working in Jamaica, doing the same thing for the government of Jamaica that he could be doing here. So I really think he is the most appropriate or most, at this time, suited to be leader of the party. But again, with the dynamics, being on the outside and not being a senator, not being a minister, it is extremely hard for that to happen. You need persons on the inside to assist. On the inside, however, we have senators and MPs. I think Dr. Munilal will make a good leader. I also think Rushton Parry will make a very good leader. I think Jolene John, who is on the inside, will also make a good leader. But these guys are not saying anything, and now is the time. You know, it's election bell has rung for the UNC. We're waiting to hear what Jolene John is doing. What Munilal said yesterday in an article that he's not running for the internals. I don't know if that is just for now, and in a couple of days things will change. As you know, in our politics, it does quite quickly. So yeah, you have competent persons on the inside, you have competent persons on the outside also. And we need to unite these people before we could challenge the PNM-led government. So you need to fix your house before you can go out there and fix the country.
So here is the next question, Ramona. Question: are you throwing the arrow at Kamala because you're no longer in the party? Because I'm sure you would have had a different view if you did win your seat.
Definitely not. I will tell you in one sentence. If I was still a member of parliament or a senator, as she said to me during screening that you know, we would be considered for a senatorial position, that didn't happen. That's okay. I would definitely be a voice advocating for new leadership. I mean, in 2015, as an opposition MP, I ran as an independent. And in 2020, again, I keep putting my hat into the ring. I keep trying to, you know, bring about new leadership. So it would not have been different. And I'll tell you something, the 10 MPs, the 10 of us who spoke constantly between 2015 and 2020, they did not like that because they did not want to win the general elections, and therefore we were rejected because of that. So I would have held the same position as I hold now as a sitting MP or senator and still push for change. And she knew that, and she could not risk that. And I wasn't the only one. It was Fuad, Bove, Ganga, Prakash, everybody was urging her since 2015, well, leaders, step aside, let someone else take it, let someone else try to take the party forward, you know, that kind of thing. So no, my position would not have been different.
First of all, Diana asked about Kamala going to beat him. Kamala doesn't even walk Siparia.
Correct.
As far as we know. All right, so let's bring that out in the open. She
Correct.
Don't walk her own constituency. For as
and Gary, what is your point?
If she walks her own constituency, she could come in somebody else's one.
Those people were in a dire situation.
There are people in dire situation right up in the south that she don't go, right?
Gary, one minute, Diana. Gary, there's a comment here by Marcia Brave Boy.
Ramona, you said you were a minister in youth and gender affairs, right?
Yes.
So I am concerned about what was put in place, that what we see happening now with the young people in the country there, with the homes and the situation that took place with a teen.
Listen, as when we formed that ministry was specifically formed, Ministry of Gender, Youth and Child Affairs, to deal with all of these issues you are seeing coming out now with the child abuse situations, with the Judith Jones report, and then what was held before in terms of the SAPGA report. That ministry was created to implement the packages of legislation, children legislation, adoption legislation, child marriage legislation, to amend the Marriage Act so that persons 18 and above can be legally married and not under the age of 18. As you know, our Marriage Act was different before in terms of those persons. There were 14 years due to religious considerations. An individual from 14 years and up could have been married. And it was a lot of work we did. We did a lot of work in that 1 year. It was under Verna St. Rose and myself that the children's bill came to the parliament and was amended in 2012. I worked on that in LRC together with Verna St. Rose Greaves. We were part of that defining piece of legislation. The Children's Authority was set up under us, and then the PNM continued, because these things need to continue. You know, in government, there's a continuum. So when you start something, you continue. And these were the correct programs and policies and legislation that we were implementing to deal with situations that we are now reading in the Judith Jones report. I must say I'm very disappointed in the government for not acting swiftly to deal with the child abuse situations at these state homes. They get millions of dollars in subventions every year. They're managed by a committee. And I understand from an article today, some of the abusers are still working in these homes. And I write an article for The Guardian every Monday. And I said 2 weeks ago, I said, move these children, take them out, get them out of those homes, get them to safe houses. There are many structures that the government can rent and can convert to safe houses, and put these children there and let the police go and deal with these abusers, because the victims are speaking out. The victims from the SAPGA report of 1997, they are also speaking out. So the Commissioner of Police needs to act on both reports. And I think that the government is taking too long to deal, especially with the findings from the Jones report. That is what they need to focus on. Nobody's saying don't go after those perpetrators in the SAPGA report. But as some commentators have stated, and persons who know what is going on, a lot of these abusers have died over the years. They've moved away. So deal with what you have now in front of you. And I'm very disappointed in the government's approach to this at this point in time.
But I wanted to know what, I know you guys changed some legislation, you put things in place, but what kind of enforcement was put in place to deal with the situation at the time that you were in government?
Well, the Children's Authority, we had implemented an office at every police station, major police stations, and we outfitted it with the personnel. We gave resources and funding to the Children's Authority so that the police can do their work. So that was part of the initiative of implementing the legislation, the children's legislation, that. So we were able to do that in our short 5 years in government. So that is some of the action following legislation that you take in terms of implementing your legislation to enforce and protect children. The Children's Authority have expanded since 2011, because in 2011 it started with respect to the legislation, and then we put in the officers and the personnel and the police station. That took 2 years or 3 years. So it was fully functioning before we demitted office. Now it has expanded and it has become quite an institution to be reckoned with.
What you put in place has been built upon. It has been basically
definitely, yes, it has been built upon. I know recently the chairman spoke about funding issues, that they needed more funding, but it's always a funding issue, and you have to get funding. But the salaries of these workers, they are employed, fully employed within the Children's Authority and the TTPS. They have their sub offices in different police stations where you have the TTPS who does the investigations and all of that. So they're all gainfully employed and working for the Children's Authority.
So, Ramona, here is another from the chat, right? Someone says, Ramona is being dishonest. The UNC is underground, and Kamala has been underground too. Right?
No,
Stop lying, Ramona.
if Gary could tell you she's not on the ground, could you imagine what is going on here? She's not on the ground. She has not been to any constituency, UNC constituencies, over the past 2 years. All of her meetings, Monday night forum platform meetings, have been held at the headquarters in South, the M. Rampersad building, and it's streamed live on a Monday night. Her presence in Parliament has decreased tremendously. She's hardly ever in Parliament also, and that was a problem even during our first term in opposition. That was a criticism. She has not been on radio or TV for quite a while in terms of being on a one-on-one interview like we are right now, being open to being interviewed about national issues and all of that. I mean, the media will complain about it. You can engage local media here and they will tell you that also. That is not true. Whilst the party, there's some little groups of councillors and MPs who will have activities in their constituencies, the leader herself has not been on the ground at all. And that is a problem. That has been a problem since during our first term in opposition. That has been a problem.
Well, I have a problem with her while in government being available and accessible.
Well, look at that. Look at that. You see?
And I mean, she frustrated quite a bit of the minister, as far as I know. I spent 3 months after we won the election there to try to access her because there was certain information and things I wanted to discuss with her and help put things in place. And she was never available, but she was available to communicate when she wanted to be prime minister.
Agreed. So, and again, if you want to be prime minister, again, as she says every Monday night forum, you want to be prime minister, you want to govern, you have to make yourself available. You can't shut yourself off from the general public, from your membership, from people on the ground, from the media. That's not politics.
So I am correct in asking why did I not see her when citizens of Trinidad and Tobago were suffering in the Beetham? And Gary don't tell me about she don't walk around in Siparia, so she ain't going to the Beetham. Because when 2025 come, those are the critical seats that you may want to swing the election.
Definitely.
So don't tell me that, Gary. I don't know what you're talking over there. Go and eat some dinner and come back again.
UNC, don't worry. No matter what we do for them, they would not vote UNC.
But you don't know. You don't know.
The reference I'm drawing is that number one,
you're only going to see them around election time. That's when, and they're going to come waving trinket and all that. But when they were suffering and feces was coming through their pipe and they were sniffing it, you ain't seeing. And Dr. Rowley was on the other side of the highway. Nah, the people are beaten. Nobody don't care about them. But when election time come, hello, hi, I am. Okay, go ahead.
No, but Beetham people, we know the issue. I dealt with it together with you guys, but there are people suffering in her own constituency in other parts of the country, just like the Beetham people, and they don't get no access to nobody.
Well, if you're running for prime minister, you're running for prime minister of Trinidad and Tobago.
Correct.
You ain't running for prime minister Siparia and Digo Martin and the Beetham. Trinidad and Tobago.
That's another sore point. Tobago is a sore point because we are a national party. Under the former leadership of Basdeo Pandey, we contested the THA elections in Tobago. Under Mrs. Prasad Bissessar, we locked off Tobago. We always have proxies instead. We think that having a partnership with a party instead of going there and fighting the elections as UNC is somehow a bad thing now. But it's not. I don't believe in that philosophy. I believe that if you are a national party and you represent all the people of Trinidad and Tobago, you also need to be in Tobago. You have a position in the UNC executive called the Tobago representative. What does the Tobago representative do or bring to the table of the United National Congress? how many members has the Tobago representative made over the past 2 years in Tobago? So I strongly disagree with Tobago, because in my term of opposition, I shadowed Tobago affairs. And I will tell you that the UNC was once a welcome party in Tobago. And because of Kamla neglecting Tobago, it's like an alien territory now for UNC. So where we would look now to form, we formed a partnership with the top in 2010. That was necessary. And now in 2015 and 2020, well, I'm hearing about the PDP, but I still think that the UNC should have a presence in Tobago. What if Watson Duke decide that he doesn't want to partner with the UNC anymore? What happens to those 2 seats? You know?
What do you mean by any more, Ramona? What do you mean by he doesn't want to partner with it anymore?
Well, I mean, there's been collaboration. You know, everybody says, well, the PNM says that there is collaboration between the PDP and the UNC. I know that he is friendlier towards the UNC than he is to the PNM. I worked with Watson Duke in Wassa whilst I was Minister of State there, and we had a good working relationship and all of that. But at the end of the day, I supported PDP for Tobago. I also, in my article, was the first person to invite PDP to Trinidad to establish an office in Trinidad and to put their hat into the ring in Trinidad politics. And I think that UNC should go to Tobago. They should go to Tobago. We are a national party. That is one of the things, if elected, that I will try to change within my party, to have a presence of UNC in Tobago again.
Well, you know, like I have a serious problem with a leader that is not available.
Yeah, we all do. We all do.
Accomplishing there a lot of times as Prime Minister, there were critical information to get across to her, and the way she handled situations. You know, I was not pleased with her as Prime Minister, because there were some very serious things that needed to be addressed. Her lack of availability, you know, and not non-engaging. I mean, I know about. I was on the ground there, and certain ministers were frustrated that they put to her as a minister in the cabinet, was very frustrated to get information across to her, you know. And I said, "What's going on here, boy?" They said, "We don't know," you know. Anyway, so I want to focus on. I know that we focus on the party politics a little bit, but I want to focus on what we can do. I mean, you said that the full tourism authority is built upon fully engaged, and
Yeah.
I'm just wondering. You see, we saw a situation here where Akil Chambers was killed, the evidence destroyed, and you know that kind of concerns me very much on how the TTPS handled that at the time, and if the case was not pursued after that, you know, to find the perpetrators there. We just kind of swept it on the carpet and hope that, you know, nobody would say anything about it until recently. No.
Yeah, well, I mean, and that's the thing, huh? I mean, there's so much to say, because I think Akil Chambers, that whole case is like a beaten boy now. I mean, every time you have a scenario of child abuse, or you have a report like the Judah Jones report that was laid, and then you have comments with the Sabga report, the Akil Chambers case raises its ugly head. That issue was in 1998, I think, after the Sabga report came out. And you're right. I mean, I was a teenager then. No, well, I was probably about 17 years. Yeah, I was a teenager then. And, you know, you heard all kinds of things. You read on the media about the DNA not being sent for testing. Then you heard that there is a DNA test that exists. Then you heard about cover-ups and this and that and whatever. You know, so it really, the authorities and the powers that be, who were supposed to be responsible for bringing the perpetrators to justice, failed. They failed our children then, and they continue to fail our children now. And that is why in my article of last week, I said in 1997, I gave that government an F. And in 2022, I give this government an F for failing our children in that way.
So, yeah, Ramona and
Yes.
Gary, this someone in the chat said this. If Gary says so, it is so. Ramona, that is mad talk. Follow the UNC page at least. All the images of walkabouts are there to see. Jeez. What do you say?
But walkabouts where? Where is the leader in those walkabouts? Where is the leader of the party in those walkabouts? Okay, fine. You have the MPs walking about. They held a few little protests here and there on women's issues, commendable. They held an October revolution. But I'll tell you something. You need the mass of people in order to effect change and to bring about new government. You need to mobilize the entire country behind you. If you can't unite the country on an issue to push the government out and to bring a national issue to light, then you have failed as an opposition. And that is only because our party is fractured. We don't have a united party, so you won't see thousands of people on the ground marching with the UNC. You'll see a handful of people marching with the UNC. If you go back and you look at the UNC pages and you look at the last protest they had, the last protest they had was for the fuel increase. You know, we keep whittling down our fuel subsidy. So we increased the price of fuel a couple months ago during the midterm budget, right before the midterm budget in April. And if at every venue there were 50 people, that was plenty. Is that a protest to pressure the government into changing that or retracting that change or to reduce it or pulling back that increase in fuel? No. I'll tell you something, and I keep making reference. In 2013 or 14, when Dr. Rowley formed the round table and had the Section 34 march in Port of Spain, there were 20,000 people in that march. And that march came about from a round table that was formed with all stakeholders in society. And they came out and marched against a national issue that seemed to be negatively impacting upon the population, or so they thought, because of whatever the PNM propaganda was putting out there. But Dr. Rowley was able to mobilize the entire country against the People Partnership when they had that protest. We have been in opposition for 7 years, and we have not been able to attract or mobilize and have a march as big as that Section 34 march in 2013 or 14 that we had. So it's useless. You can't say the UNC is on the ground and they're marching. It's a photo op. That is what is happening. It is a photo op. It is for social media to say, well, oh, look, the UNC is on the ground and we have 25 people and we're walking and we're in front of Parliament with 10 people. Come on, get real. We can't go in front of Parliament with 10 people. The last big protest we had in opposition as a party was when I was the Member of Parliament for Couva North, and we had that tragedy with the 7 fishermen, and we mobilized a protest in front of Parliament at the waterfront, and there were about, well, I can't put a figure, but that was the biggest opposition protest we had. I would say probably about 1,000 people for the most in front of Parliament, because you have restrictions with the police. But that was the biggest opposition protest we had. There's been no other protest action that brought out the mass of the people and for the UNC to take credit for it. So it's a farce. It's not real. It's not real what they're perpetrating out there, and that is why we will continue to stay in opposition if we accept mediocre leadership, and it is mediocre leadership.
So, question to the guest. This is my last question. If you was PM, will you relocate Beetham residents knowing that the area is toxic?
Definitely, yes. Do you know that there was a plan in 2009 to relocate East Port of Spain? That is the East Port of Spain project. That was the East Port of Spain project. They were looking to relocate to an area in Central. And but how it was being done was quite ambiguous. There was little or no information or whatever it was, and that project was halted, and then you had the general elections of 2010. Definitely we would look at relocation. I would definitely look at relocation. I pass in front of that area regularly. It's a lot of pollution, heavy pollution. The Beetham dump across the road, they need to completely abandon that dump. That dump needs to shut down, lock down. It's toxic fumes. We have children living in that area. I remember as Minister of State in the Ministry of Environment and Water, there was a proposal to bring about a recycling plant. And well, we didn't didn't get off the ground because that was a late project. But having the recycling plants will make the use of a dump less. You know, there'll be less demand for these dumps. That's an archaic process. It's now recycling, reusing, that kind of thing. You know, you have to go green. So having a recycling plant in our country is a good initiative and a good investment for any private sector or even the government to undertake at this time. But to answer your question, yes, relocation is urgent for those residents. But I can also tell you, some of those residents don't want to relocate. I have had interaction with many of those residents over my period of being in government, especially when we worked in that area with pollution and garbage disposal and swim call. And a lot of those residents don't want to leave also. So it's a work in progress. You know, you have to make the package attractive in order to get them to want to move also.
But so can't the government exercise eminent domain and make the move attractive and you
Yes,
know and put them somewhere safe and cleaner? It is
yes, they can.
possible.
It
Okay.
is very possible. It is very possible to do it, but I don't know what the PNM's plan is. I mean, they've been in government for 5 years. This is their second term. There's been no talk of relocation as such. I haven't heard of any major project for relocation of Port of Spain East. I don't know if it's been done quietly on a smaller scale with respect to engaging HDC for those who have applied for housing and want to move out. I don't know if there's an initiative in that vein, which can also work. But the BTM is very much alive. It's very much populated. Actually, I've seen the BTM expand over the years in terms of housing going up. So I really can't answer for the government at this stage.
Well, we're expanding in a very toxic environment.
Definitely,
That serious
definitely.
health hazard. And there seems to be a lack of understanding, a lack of urgency of why we need to relocate these people.
And not just BTM alone, Gary. You have a site in Claxton Bay also.
Yeah, I heard about that too.
That is a terrible area also. That needs to shut down also because, again, when they burn the rubbish and all of that, the toxic fumes hit the communities on the western end. So those dumps need to be shut down. We need a recycling plant. We need to find new ways to dispose of our garbage. And it's not anything new to reinvent. You don't have to reinvent the wheel. We just have to follow a proper model and it can be done.
I mean, it has to be. I don't understand, and I cannot agree and cannot tolerate the lack of urgency where people are in a toxic situation. You know.
Yeah, same here. Same here. I mean, every time there's a fire that breaks out in the dump, everybody is up in arms. Everybody's protested, and then I don't know what happens after. It's nothing comes out of it. Nothing comes out of it at all.
So Ramona, we are going to see you in the upcoming internal election. We may not see you on a slate, but we're going to see you contesting the deputy political leader position.
Correct. Yes.
And we actually want to wish you all the best.
Thank you so much.
And we want to thank you so much for taking the time to join us. But before you go, any closing words before you go?
I know that a lot of UNC members are locked on both international and local, because I understand persons log on from home here. So I want to urge those UNC members who are locked on to make the right choice this time. Come out and exercise your right. Let us change the current leadership. Let us make a move to rebuild and unite our party. That is the most I can say at this time.
So Ramona, we want to thank you so very kindly.
Thank you so much.
Definitely
Thank you.
Back to come in.
Thank you, Gary.
I have invited Mrs. Bassasa to come on, and she has not adhered to our request. So if she could get a message to her. See?
Gary's supposed to get she. Gary's the big man. Gary's the big man on the job.
Gary is the man. Gary is the man.
Gary, you're falling down on the job, man.
Mrs. P says avoiding me.
All right, guys. Take care.
Right,
bye. Have a great night.
Okay.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Yeah, right. So there you have it, folks. Gary friend. I mean, you can't figure out people, but she was very, she was pretty nice. You know what I mean?
Polite.
She's polite and engaging.
Very engaging.
Yeah.
I was glad you didn't call she prim and proper though. Oh God.
Okay,
Oh,
but I thought Diana was going to ask more questions in particular to the children's situation, but I didn't hear she say anything
Well,
much.
you could have jumped in. I was concerned about the people, and I didn't know her portfolio until late. So
Yeah,
next time we'll bring her in.
yeah.
yeah,
So that's
let's bring in our next guest here. Um, welcome, Mr. Pronounce your first name for us.
Merere,
Merere Gonzales.
Merere, Merere Louis Gonzales. Yes,
Louis Gonzales. What origin is that name from?
it's Portuguese. It means to deserve or to desire.
To deserve or to desire. Okay,
Yes,
okay. And the middle name is what? What's the middle name?
Louis.
Louis.
That's correct.
Or
That's one
you
of my
say they say that
uncle's
Louis.
name.
In America we say Louis.
Yeah. So we have.
No. True.
I
My
have.
cock say Louis.
Yeah. I have first name Portuguese. Second name is French,
Mm.
and the surname is Spanish.
Oh Lord.
You
You
have it
you
all
you
inside of there,
you
boys.
you you're a callaloo boy. You know what you call a callaloo, a
It's
pelau.
a pillow in there, boy. Well, folks, let's say a special welcome to the president of the Secondary School Football Association, Mr. Merere.
It's a football league, actually.
Right. Oh, Football League. My
Yes.
mistake. Football
No
League. And
problem.
this is in the village with the dark triplets. We call ourselves the dark triplets. D, the person who you just heard is Diana. They call her the Storm. I am Ansem of Wall Street. And then we have another person, Gary. Gary is considered to be the Phantom. And the reason why we wanted to bring you in and talk to you is because in Trinidad and Tobago, sports, as me personally, sports is very dear to me. But let me just give a little background. You are a former 1998 FIFA World Cup assistant referee.
That's correct.
You're a retired teacher at Success RC. I don't talk to you about that too, because I from Chumaka Clavantil.
Well, I am from Chumaka, Mango Alley, Laventil to be
What?
You
precise.
from nah?
take
We had to talk. We had to talk.
That's correct.
And Monctop Secondary. He's a
Yes,
lay
sir.
minister at Maloney, Davide, Mausika RC churches. All right, and he's now the secondary schools football league president. And he won that election by 56 votes to 26. So
Yes.
let's say a special welcome to you here in the village with the dark triplets on WZYE 95.9 FM.
And
But
thank you very much for having me on your very esteemed program.
Thank you
before we
so
get
much.
into serious matters, sir, I
Uh,
used to play some football back in my day.
she
But they
talk
when
about American football, eh?
no. I talking about football on UE ground there and in the road and thing, right? So when the fellas, they're picking the side, they want to make me last, this and put
Okay.
me all the way out in the wing, and I said,
Yeah.
no. I want a center position or goalie or nothing ain't happening. That was my, the boys, and grew up with boys.
Right.
And Alvin Cornell.
Yes.
Right,
Yes.
that name, yeah. I remember going on a field somewhere in Port of Spain and him giving me some lessons in how to stop the
As a matter of
ball
fact, he
coming
was
in.
the head coach of Maple
Yes,
FC for a
Yeah,
number of
Maple and
years.
Malvern, man. Maple and
yeah,
Maple and
Malvern.
yeah.
Malvern, yes.
Yeah, he
Yeah,
said
yeah.
they always put me for the goalkeeper because I always fighting on the field. If you kick my
Oh,
ankle up, I end up in a fight. So
oh, you were
you
Yeah,
one
put
of those type of players.
she
yeah,
used to
if you
play on the
give me
bench quite a lot too. She
no,
played on the
no,
bench.
no, no. If you kick my ankle, you're fighting. So just don't kick my ankle.
Yeah, so I mean it's when I talk about the secondary schools football league, I see so many talented people in the secondary schools football league. So being a new president, what are some of the things that you want to see for the future of the secondary schools football league?
Well, first and foremost, I would like to extend heartfelt and deepest gratitude to all those who would have led in past executives since 1964 we have been established So they certainly laying the foundation and doing the groundwork, must be commended for the awesome and committed work that they would have done over the years. As a relay team, coming on board now as the president, 15th of April of 2021, sorry. I'm now going to take the baton and run my leg with my leadership with the executive. And therefore, there are several peculiar yet still critically important areas that I would like to see materialize within the SSFL and by extension to further advance the development of youth football, in particular in Trinidad and Tobago. As we know, within the secondary school, football just happened to be one of the sporting discipline that is afforded the opportunity among several other sporting disciplines, for example, cricket, basketball, swimming, badminton, volleyball, to name a few, they are part of the curriculum, just like football. That being said, I think we would understand and know fully well that, and this is with all due respect to the other sports, football, as it is right now, not only in Trinidad and Tobago, but within the world, is the most popular single sporting event outside of the Olympics. Any single sporting event, football remains as the most popular. In Trinidad and Tobago right now, it is. In the secondary schools, as far as sport is concerned, the structure, the system, the support and the fan base is very high within the school system. In light of that, one of the main areas of concern is to ensure that at the end of the playing days of student athletes within the school system, that they are able to continue on their career pathway, whether or not this career pathway is into sport and more specifically football, that just being part of the SSFL should and would continue to provide a platform that earmarks in a systematic way a structure where the child, when he or she comes in from Form 1, there is a system in place and a procedure to follow with the data collected from Form 1 straight up to Form 5 or even upper 6. So in the event, which is most of the time, when offers are made for football scholarships and or possibly football contracts, then it will be very easy to pull off the data system information on a set player. And not only with that, to even track them within the colleges and or universities, local or abroad, so that we can work closely in harmony with the TTFA to ensure that the best of players are given and afforded the opportunity to represent the red, white, and black. That being said, one of the other main areas is that of specially focusing on the additional growth that is so necessary for female football. Now, FIFA is saying categorically clear that the future of football is feminine. And we are not in any way embarking on that simply because of what FIFA said, but we understand the wisdom of what FIFA is saying with it. That male or female that are part of the school system need to be afforded the same opportunities and need to be given actually the same treatment. And I'm sure for football-minded persons or sport-oriented persons as you all are, you would realize moving into the World Cup in Qatar later on in the year, that for the very first time, never before, in the history of match officials being appointed, that women has been appointed, never has happened before. However, for this World Cup in Qatar 2022, 6 women have been appointed, 3 in the middle and 3 on the line. Wow, what does that say? It means, therefore, that as long as you're able to fulfill and fit the criteria Whether you're male or female, you will get the opportunities. That is something within the SSFL I'm going to strongly and will strongly advocate. As a matter of fact, in speaking to one of the very prominent figures within the TTFA, who is heavily responsible for the advancement and the direction of female football, with FIFA, they are advancing or encouraging the various FAs, and by extension, most likely the youth programs, the Women's League, and in this case, the females that are playing within the SSFL, to see just in the same way that we have a Form 1 under 13 boys, that the intention slowly but surely, even in the midst of all the challenges coming out of the COVID-19 that we are still experiencing, even if it's at a minor level, and we still have to be exercising the health and safety protocols, is that in the same way that there's a Form 1 under 13 boys, the expectation is to start very soon a Form 1 under 13 girls, since there will now be a connectivity of those young girls who are playing football in the primary school, just like the boys, and there will be no break from the transition period of moving from the primary school into the secondary school. In the same way the boys are moving from the primary into secondary and having the Form 1, the platform will also be created for the girls. Now, that being said, it means that the numerous logistics that principals are presently dealing with post-COVID, yet still they will see the wisdom in ensuring that their schools participate in several sporting discipline and extracurricular activities, including football. It means that there is a great possibility of us, if not being able to create the girls under 13 Form 1 for this 2022 season, at least maybe to have a launching pad and a pilot project. So possibly maybe a weekend or two in which the girls around that age is given the opportunity, no matter where you are in Trinidad and Tobago, to come forward and have a weekend of fun and activity and being exposed to the football at the secondary school as the embryonic stages and a mushroom towards moving in the future to have an official girls under 13 Form 1 competition.
So what I'm hearing is a sort of a gender equity, because we have gender equity here in the United States of America. And I mean, that is something I think is so important for Trinidad and Tobago as far as gender equity, because, you know, in many colleges here and across this country, gender equity in sports is very, very important. Yes. Very important. You know, so I think that's a bold step there in Trinidad and Tobago that's sorely needed as far as sports is concerned, especially football and other sports as well.
One of the other areas too that we have on the front burner that we are presently engaged in, the executive and the general council with the larger membership from the various 114 schools that we had registered for the 2019 season, the last season, is that there is also a continuation of coaching education, because at this point in time, you must be certified and qualified as a coach to be part of the secondary school. We want to ensure that the coaches are further given the opportunity to educate themselves with moving up through the ranks with the various levels. So requests have also been made from the TTF to the TTFA through the technical director, Mr. Anton Cornell, so that we can now expose our coaches to another level of coaching, to be graded and to be examined. Also, too, we had what was and still remain compulsory within the last few years, that a person on your technical staff of the school, at least one, which is compulsory, within the physio or the fitness training segment of the technical staff must also be certified by a program that we will have. So for the last few years, we have had a first responder course, which would have accommodated the use of the importance of CPR, resuscitation, etc., dealing with concussion, as we know that has become a very, very critical and prominent part of football now, so much so that the present ruling and directive and guideline by FIFA is that every other incident on the field of play is managed, or they are managed by the match officials and also the referee. The only incident that the technical staff does not need the permission of the match official to get on the field is if the medical personnel observe that there is a possible serious breathing or heart issue, the cardiovascular issue, then they can enter the field of play immediately to deal with it, since we have known within the recent times that persons getting heart attacks, for example, and dying on the field. Concussion is also a critically important one, and that is also under the radar for the technical staff to address with the match officials. So to come right back or return to the SSFL, we would like to ensure, again, as we continue, that there is someone on each technical staff when his or her school is playing that is knowledgeable by attending the upcoming program that we'll have for them, that will run for a few, it may be about 15 contact hours, and based on the times to be met, the modules are about 8 modules, and at the end of it, they will be certified, and this certificate, they can be used, it will be recognized internationally, regionally, and locally for the 2-year period. So we think that that is also a much needed one, so we could put in place another safeguard mechanism for the safety of the players in particular. We always have to be thinking about the safety issue of the student athletes. There is an acronym that we use in refereeing over the years, and it still remains exceptionally valid, which is SEE. The word see it spells out to be. S is for safety of the game, to make sure that all persons within the game of the football, as you know, in the US, they will call it soccer. The first E is equality. And remember, we just spoke about that as far as giving the same treatment for the genders, male as well as female. So equality of treatment for both teams on the field of play. The decisions arrived at are seen based on the interpretation and the application of the laws of the game. Since there are 2 teams on the field, but the third team is the refereeing team, and the final E in the acronym of SEE is enjoyment. That is what we have to ensure, and FIFA, being a responsible professional organization, even in the advancing of fair play, want to make sure that the essence of enjoyment in the game is always there, because that is what is of great importance. When spectators come to see a game, they're coming for enjoyment. So that has to be on the front burner and be promoted along with the safety and the equality issue.
Now, here's a question from someone. Do we have rugby as a sport in school in Trinidad and Tobago?
If there's rugby?
Yeah, rugby.
Oh, yes. As a matter of fact, as a physical educator, that's my background, physical education, of which I tremendously proud of being involved in it for 30 plus years at the secondary school after having attended and taught at my alma mater primary school, Success RC School, on Success Village there in Laventille. So with that being said, and being a physical educator, I would have been exposed to all the sports as an educator to ensure that the student athletes are exposed to it. So yes, rugby is part of the school curriculum. I know in particular I attended various sessions, seminars, and courses, coaching courses as well as officiating courses. I would know that along the way there are peculiar, possibly intricacies or constraints that various sporting disciplines may incur along the way. But that being said, yes, rugby is also available under the curriculum of the Ministry of Education within the school system.
No, I have heard a complaint with respect to secondary schools football in that I might be getting the forms mixed up because I've been away from Trinidad for quite some time. But in this country, if someone wants to transfer from one school to another, right, they may have to sit out a period of time. And I've heard that.
Beg your pardon, I didn't hear that part.
If they have to transfer from one school to another,
yes,
they may have to sit out for a period of time.
A period of time is like how long? How long?
Sometimes 6 months, depending.
Okay.
You know, it depends, right? And in Trinidad, it's my understanding that some of the top schools can siphon off players from some of the sort of middle of the road schools. For example, like Trinity College, as an example, Fatima, you know, as an example, you know, they can take kids from other schools, like Belmont, for example, and they can transfer from, which is now St. Francis, right? I think it's St. Francis.
Yes, it's St. Francis College now.
Right.
Yes.
Which, like St. Francis, they can go from St. Francis and then go to Fatima College, you know, and leaving Belmont at a sort of a disadvantage because that would be their best player. What do you say about that?
Okay. This is a multi-placet issue that has various areas to it. One, for example, I was employed at Mount Hope Secondary School since 1988. And as a junior secondary school, what would have happened is that by the time the student reached Form 3, they would have had to now move on to a senior comprehensive, as we would have termed them years ago, or a 5-year school to continue with their Form 4, Form 5, CSEC exam, and for those who wish to go into. So then Mount Hope Secondary School, among several other junior sec, would have not had the opportunity and would have lost players. And even sometimes when we eventually became a 5-year school, like the many other junior secondary schools, you also had other schools that were more prominent within the SSFL, approaching schools like ours to get players and what you will consider poaching.
Correct.
Right? So my position is this. I feel that a school ought to ensure as much as possible, because the end result should not be just to win a game or win a title, win a tournament. No. The end product is to ensure that the student athletes become some of the best disciplined, professional mindset persons and citizenry who can be able to hold their end comfortably no matter what part of the globe that they may find themselves. So it's about character building. It's about helping all students to pursue their career rather than just winning a trophy. No, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that winning trophies and titles are not important. Why? because there's a certain level of credibility, fame and prominence, recognition that goes to a school that finds itself in a winning category. Now, there are some schools, yes, and I will refrain from calling names, there are some schools that have a well-structured program, structured in such a way they are doing no poaching on other schools for players. From the Form 1, they have a systematic program in place with their technical staff, grooming the players from the Form 1 into the under 14 boys, into the under 16 boys, into the senior division. As a matter of fact, with that continued growth within the few years those boys are at school or girls are at the school, by the time they reach the Premiership division, they would have had a synergy, which is the same thing, by the way, we would like to see happen in the FA elite youth programs, so that the under 10 moves on to the under 12, under 14, the same Russell Latapi and the Dwight York that would have played as young players, kept on playing for a number of years, and look where they eventually reach in their football career. There are some schools that have more prominent operational, functionary, and professionally handled and run alumni. When you have a strong, effective, efficient, and proficient alumni supporting the school, it goes a long way, especially with ensuring, because these past students want to make sure that the school that they have attended, the recognition and the status of the school is maintained. And they will now come on board, and I understand even on foreign soil, in speaking to Andy Salandi and some others who are abroad in the USA, that there's also a very strong alumni from some of the very same colleges and even convents and secondary schools in Trinidad that they meet in the US, and they have a tournament. So that being said, when you can have a strong alumni locally, regionally, and internationally, so the idea is to also encourage all these schools in the SSFL to have a very strong, effective alumni, also have, or also ensure that the administrators of the school, starting with the principal, understand the significance, the critical impact of sport, what it can do in enlightening, uplifting, and developing a young child, for example.
So, Mr. Merere, we want you to hold it right here. We got to go for a quick station identification. Okay?
No problem.
So stick and stay. It's in the village of the Dark Triplets on WZYE 95.9 FM. We have with us tonight the president of the secondary school football, secondary school. Let me make sure I get this right. Secondary school football league. Yes.
Correct. Yes.
I just want to make sure I get it right. We'll be right back. Stick and stay. Don't go nowhere. Send a minute to the Dark Triplets on WZYE 95.9 FM.
You're listening to WZYE 95.9 FM. You are listening to WZYE 95.9 FM, the most influential name in Caribbean radio in the tri-state area. Broadcasting from East Orange, New Jersey, the most influential name in Caribbean radio, WZYE 95.9 FM.
We are back with you. It's in the village to the Dark Triplets on WZYE 95.9 FM. We come to you every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday from 7 to 10 p.m. That's Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday from 7 to 10 p.m. And of course, we have with us tonight, he's a former 1998 FIFA World Cup assistant referee. And it's Mr. Merere Gonzales, and he's the new secondary schools football league president. So continue where you left off.
Yes, thank you very much, sir.
Yeah.
If permit me to say also, which is something that I don't speak much about, but the truth be told also, that I was the first FIFA instructor from the Caribbean to be appointed to any FIFA-run tournament. So from 2002 to 2012, during that period of time, I came off the panel, because you had to, at 45 years, you have to come off the panel. But at 42, I was kindly asked to come off the panel so I can take up a position or positions as a FIFA referee's technical instructor and also a FIFA referee's fitness instructor. So I served in several World Cups under 17, under 20, and Senior World Cup, and even in 2006 World Cup in Germany as a FIFA technical instructor.
Was Jack Warner instrumental in any of that?
Yes, definitely. Definitely. As the president of the CONCACAF, as a matter of fact, I need to recognize and commend him highly for offering up my name with Mr. Lyle Austin, God bless his soul, who was the vice president of CONCACAF from Barbados. The both of them actually recommended me, and I believe I was recommended. I still strongly, it was based on merit. I just happened to be from Trinidad and Tobago, all right, just like Mr. Jack Warner, but it was on merit, and therefore, in order to continue to serve for those 10 years, if I had flunked at any point in time, I would have certainly been removed. So there was continuation of the service that I rendered at the best of my ability. But yes, Mr. Jack Warner, in his capacity as the president of CONCACAF and also one of the vice president of FIFA, would have been instrumental in assisting with the opportunity of serving in that capacity.
So I want to ask another question, right?
Could I just maybe finish off what I was saying?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yes.
Go ahead.
Good. Just before you, so hold on that question, please. As they would say, stick a pin.
Yeah, no problem.
So coming right back to the situation with the schools and the poaching, we would like to ensure, and because we have seen, and I have seen, and it is not the best of situation to even observe, to experience, where it is not in the majorities and the minority, but to me, I don't even want it to be in a minority. I want it to be totally eradicated, which is, do not use the players only for your self-advancement and promotion, but it must be a win-win situation for both. The players must also advance while the school is also gaining the recognition. So that means that the educational platform, the classroom work, the theoretical aspect of the education should never be denied or ignored or neglected. Because in order to get your SAT, by getting this score, you need to do the entrance exam. So it is important to have a good marriage between the classroom work and your God-given talent in the game of football outside there on the field of play. And many schools have been doing that, and I want to applaud them. But we would like all schools to do the same and continue to have a development program within the system so that students can move up through the ranks and go to the Premiership Division. Although we still have to understand that it is the right of the parent, because the child is still under age, 18 under, for the parent to choose whichever school she or he, the father or mother, wants his or her child to attend. So what has to happen is that the school that the child is in have to create the environment to make it in such a way that the child will not want to leave because they are getting all the conditions are set there for him or her to excel, rather than have to leave to another one. But it happens even in world football, where the best of players, they are poaching and who has more money, buying more players. But to come back to the SSFL, we have to be mindful all the time that it must be a win-win situation where the student athletes benefit from all of our efforts. Right?
No, I was gonna ask another question about scholarships.
Yes.
And I think, but let me go before I get that. I know you have an acronym, proper planning prevents poor performance. The 5 P.
Yes.
Right? And it's something that I myself always talk about, because in sports, those 5 P's are very significant. Proper planning prevents poor performance. Talk to us a little bit about that.
Very well. And we could always interchange the word planning and put preparation if we wish, because it's another P word, but it means basically the same. Preparation or planning. So proper preparation prevents poor performance. And this has nothing to do with football only. This is about life. Those 5 P's are about life. If we were to live the 5 P's, then we will always be in a better position. For example, let's put it this way now. Caleb Wales from Trinidad and Tobago has been recently announced that he's selected as one of the renowned match officials for the World Cup in Qatar. And when I was speaking to a member of the media recently, I shared with them and said, what happened with Caleb is that hard work met opportunity.
Correct.
Right? So because he put in tremendous hard work over a short period of time, 9 years into the refereeing, 9 years on the panel, and putting in that amount of work and being consistent, which is so critical, from one match to another match, from one tournament to another tournament, he was already laying and creating the platform, another P word, for the position, another P word, when it comes around that he will be there to be given the opportunity. And here it is now. So this proper planning or preparation prevents poor performance. It's a holistic approach that engulfs all aspects of life. But let's zero in on football. As you know, and your colleagues on this program, and possibly the whole world, and we are not isolated with the incident, because there are other countries that are also experiencing the same dilemma, that we are trying feverishly, earnestly, to deal with the administrative arm of the football, so that corrective measures could be put in place to ensure that the processes and the procedures and the systems are there to make it easier for the various national teams to go out and execute. Similarly, in the SSFL, it's like that, which means even though, my dear friends, we were going through the COVID-19 since the beginning of 2020, earlier part of 2020, and for the last 2 years plus, we have been unable to have sport. The Secondary School Football League has been having numerous meetings. Why? Simply because one of the best times to plan is during the off season, so that when our traditional time period for the season commences, which is September to December of every year, then the quantum of work done in the off season, we are now moving into the unveiling and the unfolding of it. So we have had, and we continue to have, several and many meetings with various entities, stakeholders, sponsors, corporate business, interested individuals and parties, those who are presently involved with the SSFL wanting to continue their relationship and affiliation with SSFL, and those who are prospective entities. So it's all about planning and planning meticulously. For example, we had an online ball juggling competition, an inaugural and historic event. We never had this before. And maybe everything in this case happened for a reason. Because we wanted to have the student athletes still engaged, because they couldn't get onto the field of play, we had an online ball juggling competition. And while we would have liked to have more participation, at least it was a platform for them to be able to still showcase their talents through their video clips and be judged. And I want to acknowledge again and commend all the schools, inclusive of the overall winner, Mr. Josiah Ochoa, Form 3 student of St. Benedict's College, for being the first-time ball juggling champion of Trinidad and Tobago in the SSFL.
How much did he juggle?
Beg your pardon?
How much did he juggle? Did he have to juggle a number?
It's not like ball, not raising up, not keeping the ball in the air for any length of time. It's the artistry, the animation, moving the ball from different parts of the body, but keeping it in the air from the feet to the knee, to the chest, to the head, to the shoulders. Right? Possibly getting down on the ground, but still keeping the ball, even if it touches the ground, it is part of the act. So all those areas were considered by the judges, of which we want to commend again for their fantastic work. Mr. Clayton Morris, former captain of the strike squad, Mr. Jefferson George, who is now the interim president of the Coaches Association of Trinidad and Tobago and former national goalkeeper and youth goalkeeper coach, Karen Forbes, who is the present national senior women's captain and has her Kick It with Karen event coming up next week, Monday. And she also has written her first book, Woman of Substance. We also had Mr. Hislop, Makan Hislop, a former scholarship winner of the SSFL and national youth beach soccer player. And Maylie Atten Johnson, one of our standout female midfielders who continues to perform creditably well. So those were the 5 judges. Having said that too, we were going to embark on a ball mastery competition, planning again, but we felt rather than, and we were also going to engage in a pilot project for a futsal competition in the off season. But because of the various constraints that principals are now experiencing and moving into the 3rd term, which is now, where we have all the students now back out to school, we felt the most important thing is to get a feel from the principals as to how many divisions they may be able to take part in, or the lower divisions, since championship and premiership division remains intact. But we were also thinking about having a ball mastery competition with the futsal, but we have held back on the futsal for 2023. But we're going to have the ball mastery competition during the season, which maybe mean that within the half-time period of a match that is being televised by most likely our broadcasting company that has been on board for the last few years, that these players who are competitors and are participants will also have the advantage of being highlighted and being broadcast. So then it will be building their resume so that with it, they will have something solid to add to what they already have, so that when they move towards pursuing a scholarship, at least they would also have that mileage that they will get through the ball mastery under the cameras.
Now, I heard you said scholarship, right? Now,
Yes.
my son attended Drexel University on a scholarship, football scholarship.
Yes.
And the way how we got that scholarship is that we used to go away to tournaments. And I will invite college coaches to come and see him play.
Yes.
And, the coaches will see him play. And then, we started getting letters from schools,
Yes.
and, basically you figure out what's a best fit for what was best fit for my son. But I call it the double A's, academic and athletics. What are some of the things that, the U.S. president is going to do, for those kids in order for them to be seen in order to get football scholarships?
Very good question. And the answer to it is quite a very profound and explicit one from the nature of the question, is that over the years, the Secondary School Football League has on its front burner and will continue to remain there. How can we continue to improve on the platform and the criteria and the data and the steps to be taken and the proper, effective and efficient guidelines so that all the students who are desirous of pursuing football scholarships will have a renowned, prominent, and trustworthy channel by which to pursue their scholarships in a systematic and easily controlled and maneuvered way, which means the system will be there for all to see from the time they come into Form 1, because even at this point in time, we do have our All-Star game at the end of the season where the best of the players, after having been selected by various prominent football and coaching related individuals. So we have the Northeast Tobago combined team up against the South Central, and there are scouts there from foreign universities and or colleges that have the opportunity to look at them. And I will say clearly that on any given year, many scholarships are received by players. If I may also share, what we also discovered in most recent time too is this. And we also have the Field of Dreams with Mr. Steve David. If you remember Steve David, one of the...
I remember him very well.
Prolific strikers in the times of Gally Cummings and Warren Archibald and Earl Carter and all those guys around that time. Cyrus Figaro, God bless his soul, right? Russell Teixeira, right? So now he has the Field of Dreams, and the same exercise is being done. But you know what is interesting is that we have several other entities, other organizations that are coming to us and saying, Mr. Gonzales and the SSFL, how can we be part of the SSFL to put and to work with you to have your program in place, right? So you have Andy Solandi with his Tie-Dye Nation, Anthony Roy, who does his work also from Trinidad and Tobago. Andy Solandi is also with his team. Even the Unveil organization, the Gateway Athletics International, along the way. So their organization, as a matter of fact, at a point in time, we had the Premier Prospect group operating out of the US. And the last time in 2019, we had them here looking at players and providing them with scholarship as long as they fit the bill and they fulfill the criteria. But what we found very interesting is that a lot more colleges and or universities now are sourcing female players. Not that the boys or the males are not important, but we have to remember that the USA is one of the top female teams in the world. As a matter of fact, reckoning in the top 3, if not the numero uno, number 1, right? Always a force to reckon. Even as of today, I got another bit of information requesting a specific female player in the position, etc. So we want to continue to have those programs systematically put in place during the season, but more importantly, coming down to the end of the season. So all those who are desirous of pursuing their football career by getting a scholarship, here is the opportunity, here is the platform. You go on and maybe you do sports psychology, or possibly maybe you do communication and the arts. It's up to you, but you're getting to play the game that you love the most, which in this case is football. So any entity that comes to us, even we had the MAD tournament, that is one of our Trinbagonians out of Spain, was a tournament every year during the summer vacation, inviting winning schools or the leagues to come across there and be part of the tournament. But what we are looking at is this. We are looking in moving forward to return to the point of having something that we had and even improve on it, which is to have an inter-island competition, if it even means starting off with the top 3 or the top 4, which means Trinidad, you could have a tri-nation, Trinidad and Tobago, Barbados, we already have Russell Latipi, who is the head coach there in Barbados. And maybe Guyana, where Shabazz is technical head of the head coach in Guyana. Recently, Stern John is across in St. Lucia, right? Mr. Lachu is head coach in Dominica. Akila Malone, one of our outstanding female footballers, is the director of women's football in Anguilla. Jeffrey has gone across recently to Turks and Caicos. So more and more we have persons out there, and we are saying yes, and if we continue to work along as we would expect it to with Sportsmax Digicel, emanating out of Jamaica, who interestingly were able to still have a truncated season for the schoolboys and girls in Jamaica. Jamaica is also a very, very strong reckoning force in football, leading in the Caribbean right now, and they are also one of the great contenders and participants to have. So that by having these trips, these tournaments, for example, maybe a prize to be given, let's say, to the league winners of the SSFL Premiership Division is to maybe go to a trip in the US or in
Disney
Europe.
Cup. It's called Disney Cup. The big one
Disney
in
Cup. Yes, the Disney Cup.
Big one
the
in
Dallas
Florida.
Cup,
Big one.
as the case might be, into Europe or maybe within the Caribbean.
Yep.
So all these are possibilities, but it all comes back to the 5 Ps about proper planning prevents poor performance.
Now here's the last one for me, right? And I think we talked about this, right?
Yes.
I think that, I don't know if this is on the table in Trinidad and Tobago or even in the Caribbean. My son went to boarding school.
Yeah.
And boarding school is like an option for when you finish secondary school and you need another year. You know, you're an excellent player, but your academics wasn't sort of up to speed, you know, and you need another year. There are many boarding schools in this country that will give excellent players who may have a little bit of academic difficulties a whole year in order for them to get themselves up to speed so they can go to a Division I school. You know, I think that is something that the SSFL will be able to use, and many other kids will have another avenue, you know, in order to get to high school and then go into college. Basketball players in this country do that all the time. Some of the best basketball players go to these schools for 1 year, 1 or 2 years, and then they go on to Kentucky. They go on to some of the best schools in the country. So I think that will be another great opportunity for the SSFL.
And that's a great point. As a matter of fact, I would like to applaud America for taking the lead in that direction. Actually, the secondary school football league does something similar even within its school system. In that if a child moves from a particular school A, and they're going to another school that most likely is operating academically at a higher level, rather than move the child from the Form 3 straight to the other Form 3, because maybe the level of academic may not be, there will be no equity there. They sometimes, in order to assist the player, the student athlete, they would not put them straight across to another Form 3, they may put them into Form 2. So the same holding bay that 1 year is done, and I know over the years a number of schools in Trinidad and Tobago have been doing that, and I really want to commend them for it, which by extension now is what you are talking about, even for those who may have eventually completed their educational career in the school, having attained the age, but they may not have attained the certification that they need, that here it is now where specific educational institutions in the US, which is so great, that they will now accept these student athletes, give them an opportunity to settle themselves, regain their ground, and attain the level of academics. So now they, within that 1 year holding period, they can bring up their academic to scratch and then move on from there now with a scholarship into either college and or university, which is really common. And to that, we will continue to work in the SSFL to promote anything of such nature or similar activities that could advance, develop, and promote the welfare and goodwill and career pathway of our student athletes.
Well, I got to say this, Mr. Gonzalez, is that the SSFL is in good hands, with you being the president, and I can see some fantabulous, splendiferous things, in the future for the SSFL. So we want to thank you so much for taking the time to join us. Any closing words before you go?
Sure. I would just like us as a people given some time on this earth to understand that we are just here for a period of time, for a moment. We are not too sure when our time will expire on this earth. And we are here to live in harmony, respect, to coexist with that love that is so necessary. And this is what sport and the importance of sport does. And one of the things I was going to say, and which I will say now, I happened to be in Tobago when Trinidad and Tobago's senior women's team played Guyana a few weeks ago in that last critical game to qualify for the CONCACAF group. And may I say, on a Tuesday at the Dwight York Stadium, with a stadium that was almost 97% packed on a Tuesday, in which after the match, 2 hours to 3 hours after the match, the police had difficulty with encouraging the spectators to go home because people just wanted to exhale after the lockdown and the tight restrictions, etc. But to show you the power of sport, how it brought persons together. And I mean, we can go back several times right here in Trinidad to our time when we almost had it very close against the USA to go to Italy. So to ask each and every one to continue to make and to provide and make that contribution in a very earnest way so that the youths of the nation and our youth athletes and our student athletes in particular could always see us as adults as a level of hope, inspiration, knowing fully well that they are guided in a very proper, decent, and disciplined way so that we could be trusted individuals giving our very best so that all of us will be able to have a piece of the pie and enjoy it and put a smile on our face and know that we have given our very best in what area that we will be serving in. We will always try, and we should always try to give our best.
Now, before you go, right, I just got a message from Trinidad, right?
Sure.
Somebody says, ask him if there are any coaches that have been involved in player development programs within the SSFL.
They want No, that may be a question, not that it cannot be answered, but in order to answer it, it means that one has to be actually part of the technical staff of all of the various schools that were part or still are part of the SSFL. But yes, I would say, and I will not want to even venture into calling names because there are several who have continued to be very, very critical and crucial and instrumental, even if the SSFL is not primarily about youth development through its football, right? Because remember, and I think we have to make this categorically clear, the secondary school football league is just happened to be one sporting discipline within the school system. The school has to cater for many other sporting disciplines, basketball, netball, swimming, etc. So it's actually an extracurricular activity. What has happened is that the SSFL over the years has organized it into such a very pronounced and profound way and prominent way that it is a very much anticipated league. Now, for that to be done, it means some level of development had to be taken place with the coaches, with their students, athletes, even though they would like to have more time, but we only have the period of time between the September to December, which is the competitive area. Now, for any level of development to take place, it means that the coaches will need to be working with them, going through the tactical approaches and the transition period in the off season. How long they have to spend with them will now be dependent on the school now organizing a structure in such a place to start the work with the players. So, for example, at this time, there are several schools, and I've seen it, several schools have already started their training session with the players. So, are they going through some level of development? Oh, yes, they are, even as small as it is, because they are attending training, and I'm sure they're moving from one level to the next. And then the competition comes around September now to allow the coaches and the coaching staff to see, after all they would have done in preparation, the 5 P's again, how now can I get the best out of my players to compete in this competition based on what I would have coached them over the years, and over the months or over the weeks.
Well, Mr. Gonzalez, we want to thank you very much. Just so you know, there's people in Trinidad listening to you.
Yeah, sure. As a matter of fact, I am open to anyone, anywhere, listening, ask any question, and I am willing to respond to any and everything. An open book.
Yeah. So I want to thank you so much, man, for taking the time to join us here in the Village of the Dark Triplets on WZYE
Sure.
95.9 FM. And of course, as you continue with, the SSFL, we like to have you back and give us an update.
Oh, yes, I'll be very interested too, since in the next few weeks it will be crucial. Why? Simply because application forms have already been sent to the various schools. We may very well have some new ones. 2019, we had 114 taking part. We are looking forward to have that number and even increase on it. So by the first to the second week in June, which will be the deadline for submission of registration forms, the application to play in various divisions, it will put the SSFL in a good position to know how many schools are interested in the under 13 Form 1 boys, under 14 boys, under 15 girls, under 16 boys, senior division boys and girls. Well, the championship and the premiership division already set based on promotion and demotion.
Well, again, we want to thank you so very kindly for taking the time to join us, and we wish you all the best as you go forward.
Thank you very much, you and your colleagues, for affording me the opportunity to be able to share in your space our contribution to football. And I want to wish you and your organization tremendous success and continue to do the excellent work that you are doing. And we in the SSFL will try to do our part to ensure that our student athletes reap tremendous rewards from our efforts.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Have a blessed evening into the night. Thank you
All
again.
Right. Take care. Bye-bye. So there you have it, folks.
But let me, you ain't got no side for people you and Tommy age.
You know what?
You ain't got no team for you and people you, Tommy and Gary age.
What are you talking about? I
Doesn't
thought
he
you
have
used to play football. You are known for your age either. You told me, and hold on, hey, Diana, you know who come back?
Who then?
Ray Stel Bomber. Yeah, Ray Stel come back, but Rennie coming kind of late tonight. He inside Ray Stel boy. He come in, but he inside big.
We have a casino top. That's
No,
a
I get rid of
box?
you already. I get rid of you.
Yeah, there. Okay.
Yeah. I get rid of you long time. He going long time. Okay, I
Mhm.
see somebody asked if UNC play PNM football, who go win?
Oh God. What I mean, the members of parliament, or you taking
Yeah, the
people from
members of parliament.
society?
Yeah.
Oh. I'll remain anonymous. I won't answer that one.
Carice, welcome. Where you been?
You,
Yeah,
you
Carice,
know who going?
Ray still come back, so Carice come back.
And who go referee you the EBC?
What you
That's
say?
a
What
good one,
Gary said?
Gary. You go referee the EBC. EBC go
No,
referee.
no, the Speaker of
So
the House.
you know, I don't see us investing into sports as we should.
Gary, full 100, Gary.
All right,
Gary,
I have a
yeah,
serious problem with the lack of understanding that the Ministry of Education, the Ministry of Sports, the Ministry of Social Development needs to collaborate in a strategy to indulge our children from the very young age. I would like to see at the elementary school level, you know, more so than when they get older in the teenage. I mean, I'm talking about. I think we need to get the children on track within the elementary school system.
but Gary,
Go ahead.
one thing we have in this country, in almost all of these communities, we have a recreation department.
Exactly.
And there is sports, there is different sports through the, it may cost you like at $25 or fifteen
Registration fee
dollars.
thing here and there.
Yeah, and you get a t-shirt, they put you on a team, and all you go out, all you play baseball, all you play basketball, all you play football, all these
Whatever you
sports.
like, whatever you like,
Yeah,
whatever.
the different season, all these sports. And I've told them in Trinidad, all you need to have 41 recreation departments in the constituencies.
Yeah, we
Take
need.
all that money, all you going and build all them highway with, and doing all them roads and all kind of thing, and put that money, set up a recreation department in each one of the 41
But you need
constituencies.
proper roads to answer.
Yeah,
You can have.
we
Nana,
need the highway, but
You need
like I said, I
highways
heard in
too.
the parliament.
Nana.
Yeah.
Every single year, we paving road. When election come, we are the best road pavers ever. Every time an election come, we paving road. Oh God, every time.
Beside the road paving anthem, we building so much a stadium and no money in the community for, and then there's have cost of around with the stadium. There be so much a bubble with the stadium. Now
Bubble,
I ain't saying the stadium.
corruption.
Yeah, I ain't saying the stadium not necessary, but the local community recreational ground can't get maintained. But you're gonna pull a multi-million-dollar stadium. The local community ground. The little thing you have in your community cannot be maintained. There is no support for the organization locally.
If you don't see, Diana, if you don't see on a Sunday here in the community, Saturday, Sunday in the community here,
Hmm.
them mothers and them with the beach chairs and they line up on the sidelines, whether it's football, baseball, whatever it is, and they sit on there
Parents
and
out there,
when the kids finish, they're tired. It's
Hmm.
home to go and sit down and study. You have no time to go out and try to get involved in any nefarious activities. You understand? These are the kind of things they need to implement in Trinidad and Tobago.
but you had the children locked down for 2 years, and then they shove them in school to another lockdown with schoolwork. So it's frustration upon frustration, and who knows if they get something to eat, they take away the food program for the children to get breakfast and lunch in the school, right? So I mean, and parents having it rough. So them children they need to let loose and kind of get a little fresh air and work out that burn up that energy, man.
Hmm. Hmm. That is
Yeah,
so.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Suffocating and stifling people.
You know, but you see, these are all the ideas that we hear and we see it can bring to Trinidad and Tobago. And they could stop spending the money on, they spend $500 million on the Red House. Okay.
Mm.
They spend millions on Whitehall. Okay. They spend millions on President's house. She don't even live there. Okay. Huh?
Oh Lord.
We spinning top in mud. We like it so. We
Mm.
free.
They spinning up in tar. At least mud you can still go. Tar. It just stuck.
Why? We like it so.
But
No,
Hey,
yeah.
oh, I
billions
want
of dollars spent on some. You're seeing all these politicians and their friends and their financiers sucking up money here and there. And in the
yeah.
meantime, the money are trickling. They're boasting in Parliament how much money are located. But where and when does the money reach the children on the ground in the community? Because you can't even get a decent sidewalk to walk in. You know, I mean, each of these communities is very disgusting. You could fall
Mm.
inside a manhole cover there. I mean, a manhole, open manhole. If you watch yourself, no maintenance at all. I mean, that money has to trickle down into the local community. You know, then you're going to spend X amount of money to police and put people in jail. Wouldn't it be more cost efficient to save yourself the trouble in the initial stage and put things in the community to keep the kids, and build the future of the country in a constructive way? That is just
Gary, I just say that, yeah. I want to say something, yeah. You know, boy, it has some people in Trinidad so disingenuous, boy.
Mm.
Disingenuous, man, to the fullest, eh?
Mm.
With respect to Joshua,
Mm.
you know,
who's Joshua?
who-
The guy, the
um,
Chow King. Chow
Chow
King.
Kings, Chow
Oh,
King,
okay.
Chow Kings, right? You know,
You know,
and
every report, you see the papers running with him now?
the whole thing,
Mm.
whole
Hold.
9 yards. It's all over the
He,
place now.
he get a stall at Eddie Hart now.
Yeah, yeah, and he
Mm.
was talking about that, right?
Mm.
Some people are saying, well, you know, the man was breaking the law. He was breaking the law. You
Jesus,
know,
here we go.
and
Yeah,
but
his offense was so serious, you had to lock him up, take away his stuff, and throw him in jail.
yes,
Yeah.
lock him
Mm.
up, send him
Yeah.
tickets,
Yeah,
throw him
Mhm.
in
that's a
jail.
serious offense.
Serious
Yeah.
offense, $75,000 bail,
If you
right?
ask, what?
How much? 75,000?
That's what he said.
What?
I think that's what he's saying.
Yeah, y'all.
Some tickets. I don't know about the bill. I don't
All
know.
right, right. Maybe I misheard.
Jesus.
Maybe I misheard. You know
And
what
they
I'm
took
saying?
away his good.
They
Nah,
take
boy.
away his goods, and people are making it. People saying, well, he was doing it illegal. If he had a gun, right, right, you'd have. Watch. He break the law, trying to
Mm-hmm.
make an honest living. He get locked up. You break the law, not trying to make an honest living. You get locked up. What gives? What gives?
Oh, you don't get locked up if they can't find you.
What gives?
No,
What
but
Got
gives?
it.
but I did not see him obstructing traffic and causing any kind of havoc by his location where he was, in spite of what law he was breaking.
But Gary, listen to this, eh? You see how Trinidad disingenuous, and let me call all the PNM people, eh?
Yeah, call them. Call them out, answer them.
You
Call
know,
them.
kids just be selling bread all over the country.
Mm-hmm.
All ever see a kiss bread when they get locked up?
And I asked a question. Do you see Indian police officers going harassing doubles vendors and all of them? Wherever they set up. No, we don't. I don't see that on thing. You
Boy,
don't see Indian police officer in affair with the Indian man selling the doubles.
we
Somebody
we the worst
Let me
enemy.
go. Let me
And
go
then
there too now.
and then Pastor Google get the inspector or superintendent on the program, and the superintendent tell him, well, it wasn't the TTPS, it was community police. And then here you, well, you see, it wasn't even the TTPS.
Oh
I'm like,
Jesus.
really, boy?
So who's the community police attached to?
But listen, I say, listen, he had to take the OR off his name and just be a pass.
Oh, they're coming for you. Oh, they're going
No,
for you.
he has to take the OR off his name and just be a pass.
Oh, they're coming for you, boy. They're gonna do
No,
you.
if you was a pastor, you will have all sympathy for that fella.
Oh.
You will sympathize with that fella. And you will want everything good, just as how good things are happening to him, right? So listen, you see, the fella is very, 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 he's a young genius. You have to go and break the law, right? In order for you to get something positive done.
And
Break the law without guns,
accordingly,
without using guns.
he used the word flicking, and they give him a charge for cussing.
You have to level up. You have to go and level up yourself in order for good things to happen.
Humpty Dumpty, you waste your time. You see,
Please.
the man get a stall.
Well, you're just a pass. There's no drop the OR.
I don't get involved with you and your PNM friends. Huh?
Because he defending the government.
Not me.
For him to defend the government, he had to go down that road.
Like I said, Anselm, I said, in order for the oppressor to be as strong as he is, he has to have accomplices amongst the oppressed. Now you understand my statement, Gary?
Yeah, and I was on Dominic Roman program this morning. Yeah. So Professor Wall Street, what you think about what Watson Duke say about thieving to get him body? I said, listen, I gotta go up in Chumaka and thief. I might have to thief to go and fix the abandoned building in Chumaka. I want to tell him, I said, I gotta go and thief. Because the PLM in power, and listen to this, right? Let's get the next thing they're saying. Oh God, the PDP woman was playing politics with Joshua. Playing politics. So I asked them, I said, in 2011, when Dr. Keith Christopher Rowley walked up in Chumaka Clavantel, when the building burned down, right? When he was in opposition. Coming to power, 7 years later, the building still sitting there. So what he doing up there by 2000 was politics. Them too disingenuous. The too disingenuous and deceitful.
Well, the oppressor has accomplices amongst the oppressed. That is why the oppressor has that stranglehold on people.
But Diana, let me tell you something. The police just go and do what they have to do, regardless of whether you're Indian or.
Well, Gary, that's not what I said. I never see on social media where Indian police interfere. Well, Gary, when it happens, I never see where Indian police officers go and interfere with Indian people selling nothing. All right, but I'm locking them up. Well, you send me a video when it happened. Send me a video when it happened. That's all I say.
Can somebody else get a video? See Indian
send me a video when it happened, Gary. I've never seen it. All the wild videos that are shared, Diana Benskin, personally have never seen it. I have not seen a bunch of Indian police officers go and arrest an Indian fella, take away goods. I don't see it. I have never seen it. So, or when you see it, you send me the video.
Now, could this be why we are experiencing this in the United States of America? I want you all to look at this. I want you all to look at this. Could this be?
Maverick? That is awesome. How old are you, Maverick? He is 4 years old. Show me what you do with the gun. Do it again. Take the magazine out. Oh, can you put it back in? Okay. Yeah, get it done. Whoa. That is adorable.
Really?
Hey, what's your name? Maverick? That is awesome. How old are you, Maverick? He is 4 years old. Show me what you do with the gun. Do it again. Take the magazine out. Oh, can you put it back in? Okay. Yeah, get it done. Whoa.
I mean,
You know who they
you're gonna teach your children to defend themselves with the things, where things going.
Gary,
Ways to look at
yeah,
that.
okay.
they're not being taught to defend themselves. Don't go there. All right, because hello, Gary, don't go there. Because let me tell you why they're not being taught to defend themselves. Because I don't see where a black person is get up and go in a white school and shoot up a whole bunch of white people. I don't talk. I just say what I got to say. Who offended? You don't see. You do not see no white, no black individual going into no Asian school and shooting up the children. Spanish school and shooting up, white school and shooting them up. Who are they? Who are teaching to defend against? They're teaching them to pick on, to kill off me, you, and Anselm. In case me, but then you don't have to. They're training them. They what? Gary, why do you have to teach a 4-year-old to operate a gun like that? Why you got to be teaching a 4-year-old to operate a gun like that? And then he gets a propensity. He wants it, and he will go behind the parents' back as he turn 18 and get a license to carry. Why do you have to be teaching your 4-year-old to handle such a massive weapon? To pick off me, Anselm, Tommy, and then you.
So what is that supposed to be, a racist thing?
Hello. You're like you're not tuned in. You really ain't tuned into stuff, Gary. And this skin that we walk in,
I am tuned in.
Gary, it is. You hear the young
children. We have a lot of colored people, black people, all kind of people in America training on a gun range.
But Gary, I would never take my 4-year-old.
In New Jersey, Conceal and Carry, there is an association here.
I would never take.
Association is an African guy.
Yeah, I will never take my 4-year-old to learn to shoot no gun. I'm sorry.
Well,
you could agree to disagree. They are being taught those things.
Gun. We didn't get no real gun.
They're being taught and they're being armed to take us out. And you hear about the replacement theory? Did you understand? You understand what the replacement theory is? Because the white race feels that they are dwindling.
Means what? So you're not supposed to train to defend yourself?
The white race feel that they're dwindling.
But
you, and Anselm and all other races are more than them. And that is how they respond.
With a broad brush, I call it Anselm to say all white people is against we.
I know. I didn't say that. I said there's a replacement theory. And the logic of that theory is whoever subscribes to that theory, right, think that me, you, and Anselm replacing them. That's what I said. Whomever subscribes to that theory. I didn't say all of them subscribe to it. Whomever subscribes to the replacement
there's
theory.
all kind of lunatic people we living among, Diana.
Okay, and you see, hello. And you see where it's starting from? Okay. And then looking to pick you off first, is me, Anselm, and Tommy they're looking at first.
So what happened? You guys better look at
it. But a better looking.
Perhaps you've seen this viral clip of Tennessee.
I want you guys to listen to this. Listen to this.
Pastor and January the 6th attendee, Greg Locke, this week.
I'm to the place right now. If you vote Democrat, I don't even want you around this church. You can get out. You can get out, you demon. You can get out, you baby butchering election thief. You cannot be a Christian and vote Democrat in this nation. I don't care how mad that makes you. You get pissed off as you want to. You cannot be a Christian and vote Democrat in this nation. They are God-denying demons that butcher babies and hate this nation. Bunch of devils. I'm sick of it. They won't talk about the insurrection. Let me tell you something. You ain't seen an insurrection yet. You keep on pushing our buttons, you low-down sorry compromisers. You God-hating communist America, you'll find out what an insurrection is, because we ain't playing your garbage. We ain't playing your mess. My Bible says that the church of the living God is an institution that the gates of hell shall not prevail against it. And the Bible says that we'll take it by force. That's what the Bible says.
Wow.
I wonder what church he preaching in, boy.
Looked into the camera and said, "You ain't seen an insurrection yet, and we'll take it by force." That's what the Quran says. What do you think happened to that Imam?
Hear that?
Seriously, what would happen to him? I think we all know. Look, that clip of speaking.
Why are you teaching those little children to shoot? I mean, handle a weapon. That don't make sense, Gary. Come on. Yeah. And they're subscribing to this dotish theory. All kind of thing, because they have a problem with a black woman being...
with a broad brush, the fact that these people are training the children to go and keep people in school, that is incorrect, Diana.
All right, but who they killing then? Where they killing? Who they killing? How many school shootings they had for the year already?
I encourage people to learn to defend themselves, especially people who are...
But you don't need an AK-47 to defend yourself.
But that's American culture, Diana. For the
and I'm not subscribed. American culture, my foot. The Second Amendment say, yeah, but you don't have to subscribe to carry no AK-47. What you doing? What's a 4-year-old doing? And the next thing, you got an 18-year-old in your house, and you don't know what he got in his room? That's what the grandfather said. He shot the grandmother in the face, whatever, something to do with the phone bill. That's what the news said, not me. And
there's been 27 school shootings.
27 school shootings. 27 of them so far. Huh? And you have an 18-year-old in your house, and you don't know what he got inside his room? You can't be in my house and I don't know what's inside your room, under the bed, in the closet, wherever. Nah. And it ain't no lock going on that door. When you start to pay mortgage, your locks goes on the door. Yeah. But ain't no like I walking up in there anytime I want. What going on here? You're walking out the door. What in that book bag? Bring that book bag. I want to see what's going on in that book bag. You got that right? I'm showing up in the school. What's going on here? I'm volunteering for the day. Yeah, what's going on? Please. They're not. He didn't know that. He didn't know this boy had these guns in her. You got in your house. You don't know inside your house. Stormy bring a pebble inside my house the other day, and I knew it was in here because I stepped on it. You understand? You don't know inside your house. What, Phantom gone? He ain't licks. Phantom can't handle the storm tonight.
I don't know, boy, but let's go for a quick station identification. It's In the Village with the Dark Triplets on WZYE 95.9 FM. We'll be right back after this.
You're listening to WZYE 95.9 FM. You are listening to WZYE 95.9 FM, the most influential name in Caribbean radio in the tri-state area. Broadcasting from East Orange, New Jersey, the most influential name in Caribbean radio, WZYE 95.9 FM.
I think they was doing this today. I think this was something done today.
They using your song, Slap.
Yeah, you see? We make that popular, boy.
Where they say he hiding, Rowdy? Where he hiding? In the bush?
Rowdy in the corner somewhere, bush or something.
You're really listening to your answer, boy.
Yeah.
Oh,
Rowdy in the corner hiding.
yeah. Are those look, they got him there on a thing, a effigy of him on a stroller?
Yeah, that's him. That's him. Look, listen to this one.
Oh my God.
Listen to this one.
Today, I have been advised today that we also were lucky to be identified for a not insignificant share of some funding that is to be made available from the Bill Gates Foundation. I spoke to the Secretary General of the United Nations, who have identified us for that gift, which we will ensure that we accept and put to good use in Trinidad and Tobago.
Oh no.
Oh
no.
God.
Oh no. Oh no. Hey, you know what? I go in and speak up for my prime minister. Only bullying my prime minister. I fell up for that. Stop bullying my prime minister now. I go in on I go in and defend. All you had to stop bullying him. Okay? Good.
All right. Look, Mark.
All right. So but they're gonna march on Friday?
Yeah, they're supposed that there was marching today too.
The whole country. Oh, everybody come on out. Everybody. Bring them the march and don't go to work. And Monday is what? We Monday, Indian arrival day or something in Trinidad.
Yeah.
It's Memorial Day for her.
Let me just quickly do this. Lana, Albert, Carice, Rennie, Rajvi, and Nadia. Put closing comments in the chat. Nadia, Carice, Rajvi, Lana, Rennie, Albert,
Oh Lord.
and Carice. Put closing comments in the chat. Now listen to this, right? This is from 2008. It says DNA test completed. Cops hunt for accused killer. Now you're hearing there was no DNA test done. Right? This is the Guardian from 2008, you know. Right? We 2008, you know. It says DNA test completed. If the DNA test was complete, that means I have it. Boy,
Precisely.
we
hiding somewhere, or it gone missing in action.
It in the corner hiding. And no,
who was the police commissioner then? Where was evidence? We gotta bring in Darius Figueroa to talk on this here.
Yeah.
We gotta invite him. Yeah. Where could that evidence be?
And Robert Sabga replied to Dr. Rowley that Dr. Rowley owe an apology. And folks, next time, Saturday, I want to go over the Jones report. I want to go over the Jones report. I've been looking at it. It's 300 and something pages. And let me just quickly do something here. I just want to show you quickly something. Where is it again, boy? Where is it? Where did I put it?
Sabga. An apology, that's all they owed?
Yeah. I had it here. Oh God, the thing gone. All right, let me see if I have it in here. Share screen. Go in here. Window. Okay, here it is. I think this is it here. Okay, here it is. All right. So this is the Jones report, right? I want to go quickly to something here. Okay. Now, this team, I'm calling tonight. I'm calling on Justice Judith Jones to come publicly and tell the public what she found, right? Because it's called the Justice the Jones report. She was the chair. Because the PNM calling for Sabga and he wait 25 years, right? So Judith Jones, Justice Judith Jones, I want you to come public, call a press conference, and tell the people what was in your report. You heard it first here on WZYE 95.9 FM, right? Because the PNM coming with the PNM rhetoric, right? They're coming with the rhetorics, right? So it's here. Now, this committee had 11 people and the other one had 7, right? But I want to go to something else quickly here. Now, in Trinidad and Tobago now, we have 39 homes. 39, all 39, 39. Of those 39 homes, 18 homes are not licensed. Whose fault is that? Over the last 7 years, 18 homes are not licensed. That's the UNC fault. Mrs. Kamala Prasad, I blaming all you. I blaming all you.
So crap will smoke your pipe if you're a child and you end up in one of them.
Forget about it. They're not licensed. 18 of them not licensed. There are 39 homes. 1 was closed. 18 not licensed. Right? But listen to this. Listen to this one. Statistic provided by the Crime and Problem Analysis Branch of Trinidad and Tobago Police, TTPS, shows that between March 21st, 2015 to July 31st, 2021, listen up, there were 69 reports recorded at police stations across Trinidad and Tobago of child abuse at community residences. How many of those people were arrested? The incident reported were of sexual abuse and physical assaults. These figures only represent reports that have been made to the police. 69. How much did TTPS arrest? How much of those people get arrested? Dr. Rowley? Dr. Rowley, you read the report? Did you read the report, Dr. Rowley? Dr. Rowley, did you read the report? 69 reported to police since 2021, 2015 to 2021. How much of those people was arrested? But let me go on a little further. I'm sorry to start this so late, but I want to go on a little further. When we talk about the 5 boys that were killed up there, it's also in this report here. But I want to go to another place and I wanted to listen to something quickly. Now, there is 4 homes, and all those 4 homes is totally funded by the state. St. Jude Homes for Girls, St. Mary's Home, St. Dominic's, and Home of Lady Ho Choi Home. And 2 of those homes are the worst homes since 1997, and they're still open. And it's solely funded by the state. Boy, them not serious.
And where them girls run away from the other day? St. Jude's?
It's St. Jude's?
I think it's St. Jude's, right, Lana? Is it St. Jude's? I think it's St. Jude's they run away from.
Listen to this one. Listen to this one. Listen to this one. Dr. Rowley, you read the report? Response to the media reports by the authority. Another report headline sexually and physically abused as a ward of the state, awarded $2 million, reported on a judgment delivered in a case of JM, a minor by his skin next friend, Nicholas Mitchell versus the Attorney General in July 2019 by the High Court. The judgment deals with the abuse suffered by a child in care and highlights the responsibility of the state in providing suitable resident accommodation for children in its care. By a judgment delivered this year, the Court of Appeal subsequently reduced the award to $844,650. And they don't know. They don't know. They don't know nothing about child abuse. The court gain out money and they don't know. All you come on this.
Lana say it's St. Jude's they run away from.
Yeah, this political rhetoric they want to come and talking about Miss Kamala Prasad, the sister, need to come and apologize. And Dr. Rowley, you need to apologize. You need to apologize, Dr. Rowley. Or you come with them paying them rhetoric. But I have one more. Oh, look, you see up there? That is the 18 of them that's not licensed. So I'm making it up. Or you see it in circling red? 18 of them not licensed. Right? But I have one more. One more. Did you all know they also have child support centers in Trinidad?
They do?
Yes. And it's not under the Children's Authority, you know.
So who's it under?
Oh, no. My bad. The authority runs child support centers at secret locations utilizing persons the authority employs. This is a big money thing, boy. This is a kickback, slapback, harmback, all kind of back. This is back. Don't back on me. Remember that song? One more I want to get, boy. I have one more here. I had to get this one. This one is important. I'll circle this one, boy. Hold on. Let me see if it come up here quick. I'll circle it. I should have put on the page, you know. I didn't put on the page. Hold on. It have children from home living with people who are managers at the home. What do you think it's easy? I want to get that one. Let me see if I get that one, boy. Hold on. Here we go. Here it is right here. I think this is it. No, that's Margaret Crystal. There's a lapse in conducting a necessary background check presenting the employment of a person who has prior allegation of sexual abuse at the Margaret Crystal home, despite the home having knowledge of the allegation. Hear that? Listen to this one. This is it here. 3 boys currently reside with the manager. This is the Dr. Rodney Margaret Crystal home. This is from the Jones report. 3 boys currently reside with the manager. According to the manager, nothing wrong with this. I doing this for years because they have nowhere else to go. Upon inquiry, neighbors confirmed to the investigative team they saw boys frequenting the home of the manager. And the PNM want to come and talking about this and talking about that. 3 boys home with a manager from a home. All you wicked and evil. I go stop there for the night. We go finish the report. Look at right there. All you see it? Boy. You think it easy?
God, I don't know. Will it ever get better? And poor children.
Will it ever get better? This is something. This to me is a government orchestrated thing that they don't really. Finally, the stuff is defined now, and now they have to do something about it.
Yep.
Right, Dr. Roddy, you read the report? Eh, Dr. Rowley? You read the report? Eh? You come trying to come with this rhetoric, but Sabga need to apologize and Kamla Prasad need to apologize. You read the report? You're supposed to be coming and telling people about that report. And have Justice Jones come and talk to the public. Tell them about the report, what they find in the report. Or look how long all that report. Only Diana, you anything about the Jones report?
Nope. I hear nothing about what's going on in Paria. I hear nothing about that neither.
But I ask something about that too. As a matter of fact, yeah, quickly, yeah. Well, look at me vex here, yes. Hold up. Let me see. I have one thing about the Paria here. Let me see it. I have it, boy. All right, let me see if I have it in here. Okay. Diana. Diana, boy.
Bring that Saturday. Yeah, with Gary. Gary gone. I hit Gary on the nerve. He gone.
Yeah, you see the man on the nose and he pick up the gorgy bundy and he go home.
He pick up his marbles and go on.
Yeah. You know what? We go do that. We go do that Saturday. We go do that Saturday. Yeah, boy. You see what? You see how them politicians will be taking we for fools? Taking me for fools. Look at the Jones report. Look at that report. That's just a regurgitation of the Sabga report. You know? That is a regurgitation of the Sabga report. I mean, we might learn a little bit of new information. But if we had done something back then, right? You think we'd have been at this place today? Now there's 39 homes, 18 of them unlicensed. 18 don't have no license. 18. And listen, the St. Michael's home was closed in May 2018, and they're scheduled to be reopened in October 2022.
And boys frequenting the home of this person.
Three boys from that place with the manager, and they have no problem with that.
Well.
Hey, Dr. Rowley? You didn't bring that to the public, Dr. Rowley? No, Dr. Rowley, you didn't do that.
Everybody getting kicked back. But Tommy gone too. Everybody left us.
Yeah, Dr. Rowley didn't read that report to bring that to the public and tell them, boy. Nah, boy. Nah. But you want to come out, they want need to apologize. You need to apologize. Use the Prime Minister. Use the all supreme leader in Trinidad and Tobago. I wonder if I don't even think he read that report.
And they just want to give children an apology. These children deserve compensation. Look, anyway. And so we really wrap up. We deal with that Saturday.
Yeah. We go deal with that Saturday. So, folks, in the words of Eleanor Roosevelt, no one can make you feel inferior without your consent. You don't have to see all the flights in the staircase. You only have to see the first flight. From where I sit, this is it. The clock on the wall, so that's all I like to say, but I've got to go. Remember, hard work beats talent. When talent does not work hard, and for every 60 seconds of anger, you lose 1 minute of happiness. See you. Same WZYE time, same WZYE channel. Go ahead, Anna Benskin.
Yeah, I'm going to keep echoing this sentiment that I've been echoing from the beginning about the oppressor is as strong as he is, as they are, because they have accomplices amongst the oppressed. Good. A poor man is like a foreigner in his own country. The poor make the rich richer, for without the poor, the rich are also poor. Poverty is the parent of revolution and crime. Poverty is the parent of revolution and crime. JFK said, right? JFK said, if a free society cannot help the many who are poor, it cannot save the few who are rich. Diana Benskin, your poet and your global ambassador, bidding you auf Wiedersehen until we meet again. Good night, beloved people, and stay safe.
Okay, let me see closing comments here. Rene Muhammad says, we are all one people under the same sun. Peace and love to everyone. Lana says, we are all human beings before anything. No race, no race, no race. Love you all. Stay safe. Lana says she marching tomorrow in front of she house. Yeah. Okay, let me see what else here. Okay, that's Lana closing comment. That is Rennie. Curry says, good night, everyone. As late as I sometimes I may come on. It's a great show and wonderful people in the chat section. Keep safe and have a restful night. Carice. Nadia says, things always have way of working out. Never underestimate the power of prayer, faith, and love. Blessed night, everyone. Albert Montano says, tonight, Ramona enlightened the village. Another good discussion that can only give us more knowledge about our beloved country. Lana says, when the people who runs the system don't care what you think. Carice says, I think we got unruly rulers and unruly citizens. Carice says, an apology isn't going to help those children with the abuse they endured, what hurt, shame, and psychological problems they're now been going through.
No, you don't know. You don't know what the tentacles of. Let me tell you. I wanted to. Maybe it could have been 2 shows ago. Nadia's closing comment did not get read, so I'm going to read it tonight for her.
Oh,
But she put in the chat. Nadia's closing comment could be 2 shows ago. Said, "Blessed night, everyone. Life never seems to be the way we want it, so it is so a smile to start your day and a prayer too in the night." I got your comment, Nadia, that we didn't get the other night, right? So sorry. I read it tonight.
We're full 100, man. It's a team in the village, you know.
Yeah.
It's a team.
But she make sure she put in, you didn't read my comment. You didn't read my closing comment. So I took a photo screenshot of it.
Yeah, and I saw it after. So, let me hope this do have no copyright on it,
Which one? I sent you songs that didn't have copyright, so.
Yeah. I was watching this one here. Hold on. Let me see. Okay, this one good. All right. So, I played 2 of them.
Okay.
Yeah. Hold on.
But this one doesn't have copyright.
Yeah, this is a Bajan one too.
Yay!